Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the MinnMax Show, a place about games, friends getting better. My name is Ben Hansen, and I'm thanking you personally for being here with us today on this in-studio episode. I'm joined, of course, by Jeff Marchiafava at the end.
That's me.
In the dog pound. Woof, woof. We're joined by Leo Vader.
Hi. Sometimes I really clock how close our faces really are to each other in studio. It's like under a foot.
Yeah, you can really see a lot of Leo, everybody. If only you could see what I'm seeing. We're joined by Sarah Pozorski.
Hello.
Suspiciously far away from my notes.
I know, I've been demoted. I'm second chair now.
Did it feel like an attack? Oh, you think
I
it's
used
like
to
a
be
band
first
thing?
chair, and not. Well, it's like I used to be at your right hand,
Yeah.
and I've been demoted to second chair.
You'd be allowed
so.
at first chair, but like if you're playing the clarinet on first chair, you're not just leaning over and reading
You
like
have
the
to read
note
the
sheet
notes.
from the
You
person
literally,
next
you have
door
to,
to
you. Have, you usually
not the way
share
it
a music
works.
stand.
We are here to talk about all things in a busy week of gaming. We, of course, have the big launch of the Nintendo Switch 2!
Yes.
On the damn table. This isn't some replica. This isn't some model 3D printed by some accessory company trying to squeak by Nintendo's lawyers. This is the real
Sorry?
gosh darn deal.
Everyone looking at me.
And on this very episode, we're also talking about PlayStation State of Play, highlights from that happened earlier as well. We have reaction streams for that on MinnMax's YouTube channel. We also have our launch day stream for
Which
the
we
Switch
just
2.
did.
We just wrapped that up. So you can watch us play Switch 2, get used to the system, all that stuff for, was it 4 hours or so?
Play the whole launch lineup.
We devoured the launch lineup. But then also in this episode, we're talking about Fantasy Life I. We are
The
talking...
girl who steals time.
The girl who steals time.
Little
Just
respect
curious.
on it.
And then also we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2. Not this HBO show, but a little version of it that Leo is dead set on talking about, and I'm excited for him to return to, because he's talking about the roguelike mode.
No return.
within The Last of Us Part 2.
Wait, are we not
everybody.
talking about Nightreign?
And of course,
Because you guys
Sarah
talked about it last
Pozorski
week when only one person had played it.
would not
Who
have
wasn't
it
even from
any
MinnMax.
other way. We're talking about Nightreign, Elden Ring in this episode. Fun day.
Cool.
Does it feel like an energetic time in the game industry? Does it feel momentous on Switch 2 launch day as we're recording this?
It's a confusing timeline
Yeah.
on social media right now.
Oh, just politics and Switch 2
It's
and
politics,
SGF.
Switch 2, and SGF stuff, and it just feels kind of messy. I don't know. Like, normally I love when a bunch of stuff happens at once.
Right, right.
But at this time, I'm like, wait, I need to, like, digest one thing at a time, please.
Let me sit in my bed on Reddit for like 3
Yeah.
hours and just think for a while.
Yeah.
That's how most great minds do their thinking, I believe. But here's the thing, everybody. SGF, if you're tuning into this and you're saying, why aren't they talking about the big reveals at SGF, all that fun stuff? We're going to be talking about that next week on the podcast from actually the Summer Game Fest showcase. Which, did you see that Lucy James is co-hosting that with Jeff
Yeah.
Keighley?
Yeah.
Cool.
That tickled my heart. It felt like, oh my God, we did it! Like,
Yeah.
I felt a weird sense of victory about, like, I know her.
It felt like an obvious choice. You're like, yes, of course.
Yep,
Right.
but it's still a great choice for sure. Can't wait to see that. And so we're going to talk about that next week, along with recaps of all the conferences. We're doing reaction streams on MinnMax's YouTube channel, and then the crew
studio.
in the studio.
The big one.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to be streaming the reaction stream in the MinnMax studio on Friday on YouTube if you want to check that out. But then Kelsey and Jacob and Janet are actually out in LA at Summer Game Fest now, going to these shows, glad handing with developers, playing hot games and all that stuff. So we're going to have them on in the future to talk about their experience as well. And they're also making a video showing off what an entire event is like for you. So I hope you all enjoy that when that eventually airs in a while. But if you were watching this or listening to this, thank you. We do have a special promotion. If you want to directly support independent games media, you can do it right now. Before June 9th, if you jump in and support us at the $5 tier, you get this podcast completely ad-free and available 1 day early every single week.
Amazing.
And on top of that, you get bonus pod, you get the podcast version of The Deepest Dive, you get a ton of great stuff in there. And then also, until June 9th, here's what we got for you. We have a Steam code for Star of Providence, one of my favorite games from 2025. Do you remember Animal Well, Jeffem?
Of course I do.
From Donkey's publisher, Big Mode there?
I do.
That's right. It was a big hit. Star of Providence came out this year. It is that same publisher, their next game that they're publishing after Animal Well.
He picked another good one.
He picked another great one. The reviews on Steam are overwhelmingly positive, so don't take our word for it. But you could take our word for it by jumping back a couple months on the podcast where we were raving about it.
Before anyone even knew.
That's right. But it's a fantastic game, and you can get that game, play the heck out of it, and support independent games media at the same time by jumping in at that $5 tier. on Patreon. We'll DM you on Patreon with that Steam code, or you can jump up from the $2 tier to the $5 tier. We'll also DM you that code. And here's the thing, available through June 9th. We have 200 Steam codes to give away, so check social media for availability. If we run out, we will ring the bells and scream it everywhere we got and say, we're out, don't come anymore. But as of right now, you are good to go for getting a Steam code for Star of Providence. Thanks to Big Mode for passing those on. I'm excited to partner with them for this. It's a great game. Now, let's get to it.
Speaking of great games.
Welcome Tour, period. Sarah, Switch
Enough
2.
said.
Yes.
Very exciting times. You woke up at, I don't want to call you out for what time you normally wake up at, but your doorbell was ringing at 6 in the
They
morning.
didn't ring my doorbell, but I was like really nervous because I got my Switch via Walmart,
Yeah.
and the rumors were like, it's going to come before 9 a.m. Like, don't worry about it. And then it felt like kind of like Squid Games, where like a couple days before, people's Switches were getting canceled and they had to repurchase it. And I could hear that Squid Games like, doot, 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 doot. I called Walmart. I called my bank. I was like, this has to show up. And then it said like, it's going to come before 10 p.m. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a lot of hours before 10 p.m. in a day. And yeah, literally, I didn't get up until like 9, and I got my email at 6:30, and it was like, your Switch is outside. And I was like,
Whoa.
oh boy, my Switch is outside. And it was just sitting on my front porch in a Walmart bag.
Wow.
The Switch 2 accompanied with a can of cheddar and sour cream Pringles and a bottle of Coke.
After Ben had driven across town before you woke up to get one. So
Wasn't even awake yet.
Oh my God. Yeah, I woke up because we didn't know when yours was coming. I wanted to get that stream done. But yeah, Insomniacs James Stevenson, shout out. He's like, hey, I got an extra, and I showed up at like 6 a.m. Like, all right, I'm driving down there. It's a long
And
haul.
all
but
you
I gotta
really
have
had
it.
to do was slowly drive past my house.
That's right.
Just to double check if there
I
was
could have
a-
just stolen it off your porch like a gentleman.
Wow.
But then he's like, oh yeah, also came with a bottle of Coke and a can of Hot Ones Pringles. I was like, this has to be a bit. What is this? And knowing that Walmart deliveries, they all came with a Coke and Pringles.
It feels like a weird social experiment to me.
I love it. It is surprisingly charming from a corporation to be like, hey, here you go. What?
I
We
just
understand.
don't- I
We're on
don't
the same page here.
believe they would give me anything free.
Right.
So I'm
right.
like immediately suspicious, right? Because the Switch 2 came via the grocery delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, did they have to put groceries in it to make it a grocery delivery? Or are you just clearing inventory and no one wants these cheddar sour cream
That's
Pringles?
interesting. I hope somebody gets to the bottom of that. It's a great question. And Jeff, yours is coming soonish.
Tomorrow, supposedly, according to Best Buy and FedEx. We'll see.
Okay, that sounds great. And then yours, Leo?
I got the direct from Nintendo option because I meet all the criteria because I'm a super fan. Sorry, gamer.
Lock it in.
So I don't know when that's coming. Suriel hasn't sent me the tracking number yet
It's going to be exciting, man.
from his account that it was purchased from.
Okay, so you all got to touch a Switch 2 for the first time today. It's sitting right here in front of us. Give me first reactions, seeing it, touching it, feeling it. Give me some hot scoops here.
Smooth?
Smooth.
Genuinely, the feel of it is the best part.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's like so thin and light but sturdy. I think it's a huge improvement form factor wise.
Yeah.
The magnets are really cool. Like, I think connecting and disconnecting is so much easier than it was previously.
Yeah.
But some of the accessories, like especially that little mouse foot, like some of them are just a little finicky. I
Yeah,
feel
it's like the wrist strap thing you slot on from the Joy-Cons on Switch 1. That is what the new mouse.
Right. And
foot
definitely
is.
better than that, where I feel like it's
Yes.
locked in and cemented in if you happen to do it the wrong way on the Switch one. Such a janky rail system. So I do think that magnet stuff is a huge improvement, even if it is wonky. But then again, it's like if you don't put on the mouse foot, as we know that it's called, thanks to Welcome Tour, it's just like the mouse is like slightly wobbly, not in a huge way, but it's just
fine.
like 20% better with this little strap thing you put on it that has the strap for your wrist and stuff like that.
For simple eShop browsing or whatever, it's plenty fine
Yeah.
without it. Maybe for shooters, you need it more.
Leo, a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
As a big PC gamer, that mouse. How are you feeling about it? It seemed like you and Jeff were like, okay, picking up what he was putting down at
seemed
first.
fine in the menu,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then there were some specific Welcome Tour games designed to show off the mouse
Right.
that control terribly, and I'm not sure why.
It's about precision, and it just exists to prove that it's not a very good mouse. It's to disprove
But
me
what
and
do you
Jeff
mean?
liking
Like
it initially.
there's 3 mouse settings:
Low, medium, high.
low, medium, high. Like, what else do you want?
Like every mouse should have. That's all you need.
I do prefer that to like different vertical and horizontal and aimed scope sensitivity and stuff. You know, I guess I would take one simple setting over
But it
that.
really just felt like slow, fast, and unusable.
But like, in the future, like game specific stuff. Like I know Metroid Prime 4 had like game specific mouse settings, whereas Welcome Tour, I don't think it's going to
And with
customize that in a huge way for you.
With a little aim assist that Metroid obviously historically has, and I'm
Right.
sure a lot of shooters will, it'll be totally fine. But it's like built around doing something super precise, super fast is just humiliating for the console.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can check out our archive on our YouTube channel of us playing for the opening moments. Everyone laughed at me. Said, "Welcome to her big joke." Haha. Ben Hansen likes weird stuff. Let's see how it goes. Hey, everybody, time lapse those faces with 2 hours of us playing Welcome Tour and 2 hours of us playing Mario Kart.
Yeah.
You tell me which game got more
The
laughs
energy
and smiles.
shift. I was talking to Leah about this. The energy shift between Welcome Tour and Mario Kart was insane. The drop off. I was like, what happened? Like the dopamine just stopped.
Here's the question. How much of it was ironic energy about...
It was.
Yeah,
it was the total.
100%.
And of course, in a group, yeah.
I was going to say like 15%, maybe 100
No.
since I've been told.
No.
It was absolutely the absolute sheer audacity and ridiculousness
Yeah.
of Welcome Tour.
That thing's a disaster. It's a
Disaster
It
is like
is
does not work.
It
It is a
100% a disaster. The edutainment stuff is fine. Like
Right.
like that could have been, one little thing put in a larger package where it's like, hey, do you want to learn about the insides of what this thing works?
How HD Rumble actually works, how
Yes.
the microphone is like noise canceling, that kind
The
of
fact that they
stuff.
blew that out into like 100 different things that you have to go through in order to continue progressing to get to the like sparse mini games that just universally suck ass. Like I don't get like this downward trajectory that Nintendo has been on with their mini games. Like Mario Party, they made good games for Mario Party.
Right.
Wii Sports was phenomenal. And then it's like, okay, I guess we'll do 1-2 Switch crap, which is like smaller mini games that aren't very fun and don't have any depth. And now we're to the point where one of the last games we played, which we were all felt blessed that we stuck with it long enough, was showing off the mouse. And the game, quote unquote, of it was move the cursor over and click on a bullseye, which is the same as clicking on an icon with a mouse on your desktop, only it controlled like ass.
Yeah, but you didn't have a timer.
We had to do it in like sub 2 seconds.
Like if this was some of these mini games in Welcome Tour, which by the way, this is the game that it's $10 and your little character running around on top of the Switch 2. I know some might say it's odd to lead with Welcome Tour, but I think it's a fascinating, weird little thing. Running around on top of it, and you pay $10 and it's a guided tour with some mini games and a bunch of tech demos. Yet you see Leo shaking those maracas, feeling as if there's little beans.
That was honestly one of the first things that we did. And like when I came here, I was excited to look at Welcome Tour because I figured I'm not going to spend $10 on it on my own, and so like I'll get to see what it is and what it's actually worth. And it was around the maraca time that I was like, maybe I do have to buy this because this could be interesting. And then it was just off a cliff after that point. And I, like the rest of the time, I was like, I am so happy that I never have to think about this thing again once
I
we
feel
are
like
out of here.
my favorite mini game was the one where you had to take the Switch out of the dock and they would show you a degree angle with
Yeah,
a
for the-
protractor.
yes.
And then you would have to, using the little prop-up bar, set the Switch at that angle, and it would tell you how many degrees you were off that angle.
Easy to dunk on saying, why would I pay $10 for this? At the same time, all these fantastic critics out there, all these nerds, fans of Nintendo saying, we want weird Nintendo, we want weird Nintendo. This is one of the oddest Nintendo releases.
I also want like
Oh, you want
actual
games from Nintendo? Okay, you want everything. All right, you want your cake and you want to eat it too.
It's just like it is like ask ChatGPT to make you a Flash game or an HTML5 game, and it will make something more complex than this. It's depressing that it comes from Nintendo.
Every
and
minigame
this
is
supposed
so
to
basic
show it off.
looking.
Yes,
It's like you would not guess it's a Nintendo game in a million years.
and it's
Music's
supposed to
kinda
show
chill.
off the new hardware.
I think the music might
Did
be
you hear him say
soundtrack
the
of
music's
year.
kind of chill?
Yeah, sure, the music is nice.
Aha! I rest my case, ladies and gentlemen. You're absolutely right. It is, I think, a real mark of if you're drinking the Kool-Aid here is people being like, I think the mouse is a game changer on the Switch. Like, maybe the game eventually will show up where it is a game changer.
No.
From, the preview event I went to and everything I played today, like, literally it feels like the Macintosh in 1984 launched with that game where it's like you move the mouse to like dodge the mines coming through.
And that was one of the best games.
That was the best, and that would have been forgotten about in an hour at
Yes.
the launch of the Macintosh when the mouse really came out in a big way, right?
Yes.
And the fact that in 2025 it's like, hey, mouse games, you're moving a cursor and clicking on a target. It is wild.
And the other frustrating thing about that is like, if they had put some actual time into making a more interesting game, like it would have sold the hardware more, you know?
Right.
Like part of what made Wii Sports so good, like it didn't control, like most of those games in Wii Sports didn't control very well, and they had calibration issues and stuff,
Yeah.
but there was a charm to it,
Yeah.
and there was a depth that made people want to keep coming back to it.
Right.
And all of a sudden it was like, oh, the Wiimote is absolutely amazing.
How much would you be turning that frown upside down? You'd become like the Joker after the toxins kick in if this was free and packed in.
It would have been better.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been like, it wouldn't have pissed off the entire community to begin with and felt like, why isn't a welcome tour a free thing? And half of it is quizzes about the hardware
Right.
that you want people to pay for.
Okay. I hear you. At the same time, I like it. I like
It's
what
still,
like.
even if it had been free, it still would be a major letdown though. Like in terms of gameplay,
Sure. In terms of gameplay, I think just the oddities of like, let's go inside and look at the chips and circuit board for the Joy-Con and talk a little
like I
bit about
said,
the engineering. If they had actual like quotes from the Nintendo engineers,
that would have been interesting.
this would have been in my
Sure.
top 10. You know, like if it was like a dev room from Chrono Trigger, but it was just them talking about like, all right, here's a funny story behind soldering this part. Like but it is like 10% of that, you know?
Yeah, if that had been part of a package of something else with some like quality mini games that did a good job being
Sure.
a demo,
Sure.
but also like forcing you to go through and read all the things to do the quizzes and having to find all the stamps in order to unlock the next area also like just completely kills it, where it's like if you just want to run around on the top of a Switch 2 and look at the buttons and stuff, or go inside it to look at what's inside,
Yeah.
like you can't do that until you walk across the entire left Joy-Con and then the entire right Joy-Con, which is the same fucking thing mirrored, and it's
Individual worlds in this game.
Like-
individual
Right.
zones.
like trying to force that into an experience that you have to 100% in order to go to the next part just like kills the novelty of it, of what like most people are going to come to it and would probably be a little interested and like would look at some stuff and be like, okay, that's kind of cool, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now I'm skating across, you know, the surface of the screen and stuff. That's kind of fun. Like
Right.
like they would spend like 10 minutes with it instead of the mandatory 3 hours that they want for you and like doing fucking quizzes about it. Like,
And you can go like, I want to learn about the Switch for a little bit. I want to just play mini games. It's like you can't. We wanted to find new mini games, and that we were gated by not having earned enough medals in the couple mini games you start with.
And the issue for me is that, like, visually, the Switch 2 looks like the Switch. I know what the Switch looks like. I've been
Right.
looking at the Switch for years and years and years.
You're not like, what is this
And then
down
they're like,
button?
don't you want to run on the Joy-Con and the screen? And I'm like, I know what it looks like. I know what it looks like. Like, if this was like a totally different wonky-looking console,
Yeah.
I feel like they could have maybe sold it to me a little bit better.
Yeah.
But this looks the same as the other one.
And it is. I agree. It is charming and wonderful, but like
Nobody said that!
No, I agree. You're right. But no, those moments where it's like, okay, we're also going to gate you by the accessories you have, and we're playing on like a 1080p in the studio, 1080p TV, and it's like, all right, this is going to test the 4K stuff.
They called us out
Okay,
live.
so you need to connect your 4K TV real quick
Yes.
before you can play this. It's like, oh my god, I would love to see actual data for like Switch 2. What percentage of people playing Switch 2 do you think have a 4K TV? Do you think we're at 50% yet in society for like overall people buying
I'm
Switch
sure
2?
it's a lot lower than any of the other consoles.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this is
right?
not the one that you get for 4K. It's great that it does 4K,
right,
but
yeah.
like
120 hertz. You get if you want to play that frame rate game, you got to crank that sucker up, man. So
a
it is weird. how it's-
frame rate game. Of,
Hey, there was a game about... Yes!
Identify the frame.
What?
I've never played anything like it.
watch these two animations and tell us which one is at 120 hertz.
Yeah,
That's not a game.
it's $10. It's a weird novelty.
It's $10.
I do
Buy
get-
an actual game.
We
can
gotta
get
stop acting like our time isn't a currency as well. You're spending.
I want to listen to Ben defend it a little bit more, though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm saying I'm gonna take pictures like a serial killer of you all during that stream and send it to you and say, "You were having a good time. You're having fun."
No denying
We
that.
can have a
Nintendo
good
smiles on
time.
Nintendo faces, every one of you.
Yes. Half of it was us laughing at how terrible it is. That's like the thing
remember that
when
part.
when a news outlet gets a headline completely wrong and they're like, "Well, people are talking about it though." So like that's kind of the most important thing. Like, this is interesting though. It's interesting. It's weird. It's different. No one's ever done it because it's so stupid, but it's different.
I don't like Souls games. Typically, the most fun I've ever had playing them is doing hot seat, passing it off with friends. That just like injects fun into absolutely any activity, even as something as universally hated as Souls games.
Yeah.
I don't. What?
I'm just saying you can make anything fun with a group of people.
I guess it is.
We're saying we're really fun people, and you're lucky that we played with you.
I.
Would you? Well,
I
are
say
you
that every
going to
day.
play this by yourself, alone?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
For
It is.
sure, yes.
It is telling
That's
that you
just
have to
so
play it alone. Like
sad.
there's. Because there you're like, oh, if there's like 2-player version of these mini games, it would be
It would
something.
have been really fun if you could like do
It would
the
have been the minimal effort.
Right.
And the fact that like you can't just go somewhere and like play all the mini games. You know, like what if I just wanted to like have a screen with all the mini games and then I just scroll through them that way?
Maybe if you get through all the different parts and
Unlock
you
everything?
find every lost item that people have forgotten in the world and you
So
take
the
back to
NPC
the
can
desk
say-
one at a time.
say
at
the
a
same
time,
exact
yeah.
dialogue.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the Switch 2, everybody. PlayStation had a big state of play. The console itself, I had a couple thoughts. It's like unboxing it. It's very nice packaging. It's lovely. Sarah, you don't like the curve on the dock.
I don't.
It's a little black and rugged, the whole thing. You know?
The entire thing is just dark, and I guess I shouldn't have taken the Switch colorful Joy-Cons for granted. Because like when you look at this thing, you're just like, huh. It's just like it's quite literally like the black box.
There will be cool ones
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, I hope
It
so.
shows fingerprints pretty bad too.
Yeah, I'm wondering just how greasy my fingers are.
It's mainly the Pringles probably coming through on that front, yeah. But no, it's like there's simple things that I forgot about. Like, oh yeah, there's an Ethernet port now on the back. That's nice, and like a whole back screen. You kind of like a back thing you can detach to get the Ethernet core cable in there, which is handy.
Yeah.
The boot up process for like transferring to Switch 1 stuff was super easy. There's like super peaceful little chill music as it was transferring over and all that fun stuff. I think the biggest heart attack I had on the list of heart attacks, one of them was just a heart attack of pure pleasure when I booted up Welcome Tour. But the second was going through and be like, all right, I just got the standard, Switch bundle here, so I'm going to download Mario Kart World. And even with all of the talk over the last several months of the internet, when I got to that store and saw $79.99, it really was like a Jesus moment. It just feels like this is on another level. We have arrived.
And then they were downloading all your games in the background while we were trying to play, and we couldn't get them. You had to individually go through the games and try to stop
And
them.
I have so many Switch 1 games that transferred
And
over
you
on
were
that SD
And then
card.
I was like, oh, we can just put it on airplane mode. But you can't put airplane mode on when it's docked.
Plug down TV.
Yeah. Why not?
yeah,
We know you're not on an airplane right now, okay? You're docked.
it's got its little quirks, yeah. But then we downloaded Mario Kart World and booted that sucker up. Jeff, you seem like you've been playing Mario Kart since the gosh darn beginning, man.
I played the old ones. Yeah, there was an era that I have missed since the old days. But yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. My kid's about the age where
Ooh, yeah.
he has seen, he's seen the Mario movie, and so they ride the karts in there. So he vaguely understands what Mario Kart is, and I'm looking forward to playing that with him and seeing him cry when he gets totally annihilated by 24 CPU characters.
Oh my gosh.
It is chaos in a fun way, I think.
Yeah. It's like we all admitted that like the energy in the room dropped, and part of that I think is just it's kind of a weird format. There are a lot of weird changes going on, and it's just a little hard to parse right away what was happening. I think it's super interesting that now you'll pick like 2 different race spots, and a race is you do the first track and then you do like the path to the next track, and then the final lap is another track.
But it's weird it calls it laps. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, laps,
Yeah,
we're just talking like
that's not
sections
how-
of the open
That's not how
world
laps work.
now.
Yeah, and so like I'm interested in kind of digging into that kind of stuff and figuring out more what's going on. The free roam seemed a little weird.
I'm into that. Hey, I'm into that.
You're into that?
Well, as somebody who when I played like Double Dash on the GameCube, I would like to just wander the tracks for fun. Like I literally did it for fun. Like I would look at all the details. I didn't have a lot going on back then, to be totally
I
honest.
didn't want to say it,
But like, yeah, and then they came out with this free roam, and I was like, I would have loved that. I would have eaten that up.
but would have.
Yeah. Well, I think I love it now.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely, it's gonna be like I put on Love Island in the background, and then
Yeah.
I like do some free roaming, try to find some outfits.
Collectathon.
I mean, the outfits thing is all right. It's like I was surprised that you can do it online with people, right? But there's no split screen free roam option that I saw in there. So it's like, Leo, you seem the most shocked about like, oh, you're expecting kind of like a single player campaign almost from the world in Mario Kart World. And it's not really that.
No, it's an attract screen going on in the menu of characters driving around, and when you press minus,
Yeah, and right in the
Which is
bottom, in
not-
like the tiniest font
Yeah,
possible, it
it's
says
not an
free
option
roam.
on the menu,
Yeah.
which is just strange.
it makes all the other options seem like the real options, and then
Yes.
here's this one little side thing where you jump into this free roam thing, which going right into it from the attract screen is cool and cute. But yeah, no story, no structure, just vibes. That's fine.
Yeah, you get little P blocks. You can find some things. It's like, they said in the marketing and the direct, look, find shortcuts, but it's literally just like, just look around. You can just drive around and
just
kind of
kinda
look at stuff. You get costumes.
See what's out there.
If you want 1,000 more costumes thrown into the character select here you go.
I drove into the back of the truck and got to
That was
mow down
insane.
cars.
Oh,
that was fun.
nice. Yeah. That seems all right.
I can't wrap my mind over how wide the races are now, because they used
Yeah.
to be really like narrow and you'd be bumping into each other, but now it's so wide.
To make room.
Yeah, it just seems so big. It's so much bigger now.
Even like the battle mode, it's like, okay, there's a lot of CPUs in there, but like, oh, this arena seems
I
huge for the
couldn't
battle
find
mode.
another person.
But if I'm used to like Mario Kart 64, that's where I played the most
Yeah.
battle mode. So it's like if it's not like the block fortress area, like this
And it
is
was
a-
like that really tiny one too.
right. But yeah, it's interesting. There was an interview that came out in the last wave of previews. I think it was from IGN, maybe Washington Post. But like the director of the game, he like stopped somebody. He shut their mouths shut when they called it an open world Mario Kart game. Where he's like, no, not open world. It's interconnected courses, which I think is the right way to frame it. Like, don't think that it's going to have this big, Forza Horizon single player thing.
Yeah,
we run around
and better, because like the closed courses are the design that like make Mario Kart. Like I want the weird things where I'm jumping off of leaves and like flying over a waterfall and whatever. And I don't just want it to be like an open world with a bunch of roads and you just pick which road that you want to go on, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. I think it's an interesting mix to have. Like you do a bespoke course and then you do a road that leads to another one, and so however you mix and match that is going to make a ton of different combinations.
And the roads are like entertaining too. It's not just like the boring part in between.
I mean, I think we did an entire race and we didn't realize that the second lap of that was just a road to the next place.
Right.
Which because on the way it normally is in a kart racer, you do one lap and you kind of see, oh, there's a shortcut there. I'll try and get that next time. Versus this, it's like, when will I remember that from this level to this level, there's a shortcut at this part? Like, will I even notice I'm back here by the time I have another opportunity to do this? It's cool
Right.
that they're trying something like that, but it is a weird change.
Yeah. We played 4-player split screen, which was a delight. Frame rate, 30-ish in that arena. It's not staying at 60 for 4-player split screen. So if you're emphasizing that, it felt like a breath of fresh air when it switched to 2 people and it was running great again. Then like, okay, great, this is perfect.
Yeah, good looking game.
And we did Knockout Tour, which is the big new mode where the idea is it's their Mario Kart Battle Royale, if you will, where it is every checkpoint, the bottom 4 racers, I believe, are knocked out. And so it gets surprisingly intense as you're going, and you were like right at that borderline of like, if I could just get this mushroom boost at the last second. Like, Sarah, you had some miraculous ones. We're playing with the community with that room code, which I think
fun.
that was the secret. It's like, okay, we recognize names from the Discord and everything. And like, Sarah had 2 Hail Mary moments of just devastating somebody
in at the
else
last
by
minute.
squeaking in and knocking them out of Knockout Tour.
Yeah, I think Knockout Tour is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's like if you get knocked out in the first round, you just have to kind of sit there and wait
Yeah.
for other people to, get knocked out.
Right.
So you're like, okay, I guess I'll just like if you're playing with a bunch of people sitting down, I don't know. Like I'd be like, okay, I guess. How did you guys feel? Because you know what, I made it through all my races. How did you feel watching?
I was into it actually, but maybe it was being in the same room as other people and knowing the names from the community and stuff. It was not just time for me to check my phone or whatever. But I don't know, especially if you're game chatting and you have other people to like talk to and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I think it's honestly worth it in my mind for that tension because I just feel like Mario Kart God bless its soul, but I'm rarely on the edge of my seat. But my Knockout Tour, it's like, oh, we're caring about Mario Kart in a new way.
That for sure.
It's like the perfect format for that chaos where it's like, I got eliminated in the very first round, and I was in like second place like 3 times during that one lap.
Yep.
And it's just yo-yoing back and forth, and that makes it exciting when you have this cutoff that you're constantly dipping down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like more like a race for your life. Like I felt like I was trying harder in it than when I was just racing normally, because I'm like, okay, well, there's always next race.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's no stop between the races in the knockout. Like every time you get to the finish line, there is no like placements, right?
Right.
So you just have to. It's kind of exhausting.
6 laps.
Honestly, you're just going, and you're still going, and it just keeps going, and you're like, okay.
It is a very nice, friendly Nintendo touch, though, when you do get knocked out after you've been going and going for a long time. That it doesn't say, like, loser, Bowser eats your soul. It just says, finished.
You thought you won.
I genuinely thought I won. But I think that's a sign of a successful game.
I love that. Totally.
Yeah.
That's what I will tell my kid when he finishes.
You did it.
Unbelievable. But yeah, Mario Kart, I mean, it's fun to have the game at launch here. There's like, oh, we're going to be playing this for the next 8 years probably, coming back to it every once in a while, right? Like it is just going to be the go-to. And even if it's not making us fall on the ground in laughter, I do think just like, oh, Mario Kart, but with like added tension with Knockout Tour and like just a great new Mario Kart with a free roam mode that you can play if you're really interested in that type of thing. Like,
A little more skill ceiling to work on the grinds and the wall rides and stuff.
Yeah.
We barely scratched the surface of that.
Yeah, for sure. It gives you a little bit of a boost. The equivalent of like the drift boost is now just kind of doing tricks and doing backflips and stuff. But like, oh, that's great. Like, what was it? Doing the super jump. Like you squat down, then you jump. Right when you go off a jump and you get higher or you go faster. For exactly, there's some specific benefit of that. But like, yeah, that seems great. Those are like the big 2 games we played. I downloaded Fast Fusion, which is like an F-Zero style game. I'm definitely interested in checking that out. And like third-party stuff, I think it's good on a third-party level for the launch here. Of like, you know, if you're an adult and you want to have some cool adult time, like Cyberpunk, based on all the videos so far, seems like it's a cool version of that game that's running great. Like Split Fiction, I think is an awesome game to have at launch. I think that'd be super fun to play split screen with somebody else and stuff. So still ton of other stuff to jump into. But if I may read the room, it felt like everyone was like, okay, look, Switch 2. It's going to be exciting, but we're not like, holy God right now.
Yeah, and it was funny watching all your friends pop up with their Switch 2s, and it was like more of them were playing old games than new games. I mean, there's like maybe one or 2 people playing the new Mario Kart. But it was just like, they're playing the game they were probably just playing on their Switch before.
Right.
When we all got here to the setups, came into the studio, it just looked exactly like Switch 1 on the menu.
It does. It just looks like
the
Switch.
Yeah, there's like a couple new icons, couple new settings.
The chat.
Yeah, there's radical stuff. If you're holding it in handheld mode and you're going through the menu, as you scroll to the right, the audio shifts and pans to the right speaker or the left. If you're panning to the left, it's got those types of little
stereo
fun quirks.
Fancy.
And you would understand it if you paid attention during Welcome Tour instead of being like stereo quiz, hunk shoe.
I was looking for that lost hat.
Yeah, that was your first mistake.
I feel like it's a good technological step.
Yeah.
It does lack some just razzle dazzle, but it's a good technological step for Nintendo.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a new solid comforting baseline.
Yeah. The Switch was super popular for a reason. Like, you know, the Steam Deck exists now, and I think all of us play a lot of games on the Steam Deck. So like it may not get as much play because of that, but it's like it's a solid handheld, and that's great. That's great for playing games at this point.
Yeah. Yep. We're set.
True. Your Joy-Cons are good?
Joy-Cons are good. I mean, it's still a Joy-Con, a bigger one, but it's not the most comfortable thing in your hand for a while.
I think plugged in, it'll be, if playing any game sideways on just a single one is not going to be super fun. But I really like the joysticks on it, and I think in handheld mode, normal handheld mode, it'll feel good. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of feeling good, you said you were trying to find that lost hat, Jeffem?
Yeah.
In one Welcome Tour. Perhaps you can look at the couch next to you and find one lost hat. Ladies and gentlemen, we have this episode of the MinnMax Show brought to you by MSI. If you want a motherboard, you can check out MSI, but we have something bigger than that. Is that right, Leo Vader? Because MSI, they've helped us out in a huge way where they have supplied the MinnMax studio with its first huge gaming PC. So shout out to MSI for for making that possible, and they have a way for you to also get some great goodies.
That's right, Hanson. MSI's Build of the Show is a new competition series they're running at places including ours.
Ours?
This is for if you are a US-based listener who has an MSI part in their computer of any kind, motherboard, graphics card, cooling unit, whatever, by MSI. What you need to do now is go to discord.gg/MSI, get on in there to the podcast channel, and you're posting a picture of your rig with your MSI piece in it. It also has to include, and this is the most important part, a piece of paper, handwritten, with your Discord handle and MinnMax on it. You can take a photo or a cool video if you want to really stand out from the crowd. And it's assigned randomly. You don't have to have the coolest PC. You just have to submit your PC with your MSI part, with that handwritten note, with your Discord handle, and with MinnMax on it. And you'll be entered into a drawing to win a new MSI motherboard, specifically the MSI MPG Z890 Carbon Wi-Fi motherboard.
Woo-woo!
And that's at discord.gg/MSI.
Love it. Thank you so much, MSI, for supporting MinnMax in a huge way here. Appreciate it.
We've got dragon stuff around. That's their mascot.
Oh, that's what that is. That makes more sense now.
Yes.
That makes more sense now. Got it. It's a confusing leap for the ad-free version. That's right, everybody. Also,
Ad-free.
Sony had their big State of Play this week. If you're interested, get these hats off me. The big State of Play happened on Wednesday. Sony would not be left out in the cold when it comes to big, fun summer announcements. So State of Play, the more I think about this, the more I'm like, I think that was a really good show. Like, the spread of games was about everything I could hope for just like kicking off the season with like some genuine surprises, some things to think about, like good range of genres, really like Japan-centric, which is kind of refreshing to see from Sony this way, even if it's not a bunch of first-party reveals. Like, first-party-wise, it was like Ghost of Yotei. Here's a teaser
Here's an announcement
trailer.
that Ghost of Yotei is not here, but we will show it soon.
Yeah, gameplay deep dive for Ghost of Yotei happening in July for that entire thing. But Leo, what do you think was like the biggest humdinger for you from the State of Play?
I mean, gotta be first look at 007 First Light, obviously, if you're asking me, from IOI.
This is from the Hitman developers. They've been teasing it, talking about it for so long. Even like that Switch video, they showed the old classic gun barrel shot from 007.
Yeah.
Now, Leo, this is not the James Bond we know and love, is it?
I'm told it's not. He's got a scar on his face like the books.
Yeah, I guess in
It's
the books
like
he has
Gen Z James Bond.
He's very young.
26 years old, which is
yeah,
interesting.
okay,
'cause
that
I
is
remember,
Gen Z.
I remember hearing that like Tom Holland was talking to MGM about making like a young Bond reboot, and then eventually evolved into like Uncharted, I think. And so I wonder how much of this is coming from IO or just MGM and now Amazon, who fully owns James Bond, right? Like if they're interested in that idea, or if it's just natural, like we want to start this new thing. Of course, we should start at the earliest possible point, like pre-Casino Royale.
What I always heard, since way before we saw anything from this, was that IOI pitched Barbara Broccoli herself back before
That's
Bond
the
was under
Sesame Street character?
Please let me speak.
Okay.
Before Amazon bought MGM, and it was like, you know, they had not made a James Bond game in so long, but Barbara was down for it because of the strength of the pitch and how it was a different, unique take on it.
Yeah.
And I think that included all the like, it's gonna be back to basics, Bond.
I mean, you gotta
out.
get James Bond to a younger audience. Let's be honest.
Let's
yeah.
be real.
And they need something that they can put into Fortnite. And I think if this game does well, and I think we're gonna see James Bond in Fortnite.
And I think guy in a suit, it'll be easier to identify him if he's got an iconic scar on his face.
Wait, is that
If you're gonna
yeah,
go
he's
for
got
it.
the scar. He's got the scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like he's not even 007 at this point. Like the whole tagline is that you got to earn the 00 status, right? Because he's still part of he's recruited just into MI6.
So he can't kill.
He has a license to.
He has a permit.
to noogie, and that's about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
He'll get there eventually. Leo, as the world's biggest fan of Hitman, I was shocked by you being shocked. Where like the reveal big trailer showing some gameplay, you're like, "There's action in it." Like, man, what do you expect?
I wasn't shocked. I was just, you know, I am it didn't make me excited. It's like I know there's going to be action in it. The more Hitman-y it is, the more excited I would get by that, because that's the type of game I like to play. I made lots of games besides Hitman that aren't my favorite game of all time. So certainly
one hot shot.
Mini Ninjas.
Damn it, he's good.
So I mean, I trust that studio's design sensibilities, of course, but I want to see more of it before I really get excited.
There was, in the official description, they do call it a third-person action-adventure game that blends IO Interactive's signature stealth and action gameplay mechanics with the world of Bond. So they led with stealth. That's something.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, there's a lot of stealth action games that are creeping around doing stealth takedowns, and Hitman is a lot more nuanced in its stealth than that, which I always thought was a great fit for Bond, the being at the galas, the high society mingling, which is this is before that phase of his life, is what they say, before the suit.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, which one's the broccoli knife and which one's the spaghetti
Barbara knife? Yeah. But they're showing more on Friday night. We're streaming the reaction to the IOI showcase, the first one they're doing, which again, I'm cautiously optimistic about. Always when a studio does their own showcase, it's hard for one studio to fill that.
Yes.
And we'll see how that goes. But they've got Hitman stuff in there too. I'm excited to watch that with you in the studio. Excited to learn more, but the trailer itself was this is what I would expect a Bond game from anyone to look like, really.
Okay. You're just going to try and play it as much like a Hitman fan as you possibly can. Just steer it that direction. And there's a chance that it's going to work out well on that front. All right, Jeff, what stood out to you the most from State of Play?
Maybe Silent Hill.
Silent Hill F.
Kind of looks interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that were interesting and didn't blow my socks off.
Right.
If you complain that hey, every Sony game is this AAA third person kind of narrative type game.
Sad Dad Weapon Wheel.
Yes. Then you got exactly what you have been wishing for, which is a bunch of games that weren't that, and I don't know, none of them were super exciting to me, but I liked the variety that was in it.
I think it's the mark of a cool show, the fact that they open with the trailer for Enhance's new game, the follow-up to Tetris Effect, which is Lumines Arise.
Looks cool.
Sounds exciting.
Which is... it is just as Tetris Effect follow-up as you can possibly get. What if we had that presentation,
Give
that
me
style?
any other puzzle game in that style with
Yeah.
crazy music and visuals, and I will be happy.
Hopefully we talk about it enough on the podcast, but I sincerely play Tetris Effect. I think I've played it every 2 months since 2018. I'll just go back to that, especially with I got it in the Meta Quest, and just I will just play through that quote-unquote campaign, all those levels in VR, and it's just, it's transcendent. I freaking love it.
I did that too. It's really good.
Yeah. It's so satisfying. Is anyone here a Luminous nut?
I thought you were, so the fact that you're not really throws me.
I like Luminous, but here's the thing.
You like some other game that's exactly like it, right?
Panel de Pon I like a lot. It's not exactly the same.
No,
Meteos I think is fine. Is that what you're thinking of?
Is there some other one with stupid squares that you're putting together?
That's a lot of the puzzle games I like, yeah. But no, Lumines, I think what it is just people who are all in on portable PlayStation, they're gaga for Lumines.
I didn't like Lumines, but the way I think about it looking back is I was such a PSP head and a PS Vita head that I was supported Lumines in concept.
Okay.
Because it was such a flagship for PSP.
I do think there's that smaller gaming base that's rallying around now look, to my defense, I've never owned a PSP. Wow. I've always looked at those games from the outside. I've played them here and there, but stuff like Patapon, I'm that seems great. I probably would like that. People proclaiming Patapon's a 10 out of 10, I'm I think you just were really trying to be still fully invested in the PSP that you bought. And so Lumines is I think it's an awesome puzzle game, but they say that oh, this is the game that we wanted to make because we didn't have the rights to Tetris. So it's naturally it's a cool puzzle game. And I was second guessing it last night. I'm God, is Lumines a secret masterpiece? So I went back and I got it on Steam Deck, Lumines Remastered on Steam, which is out there and great. And I was playing it still in bed and being okay, I think I had the right read on this. I need, maybe if I sank another 20 hours into Lumines, it would unlock at some new level. But in my mind, it's just okay, here's the thing. Even if I'm not gaga over the core gameplay, that presentation style, I think is going to elevate it. And having the same composer as Tetris Effect, I think the music in that game
Similar
is
song
so unique.
as the Tetris Effect main one.
The Connected song for sure. Yeah, but it seems good. It's coming out fall 2025 and has like a new burst mechanic in this Luminous and stuff. But like just starting with that artsy of a game, I think, just to be like, hey, PlayStation fans, remember PSP? Here you go. Luminous is back. Like that seems like a really cool note to kick off this whole thing on.
Good amount of 2025 games in general.
Yeah.
That's always exciting when it's like, okay, this is a lot of stuff that will be having an impact on this year.
Right, yeah. First Stepped. Was Bloodstained, that sequel, was that also this year as well? You, of course, remember it, the Scarlet Engagement?
The Scarlet Engagement.
Right.
Yeah. You got a one that stood out for you, Sarah?
Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics, the remaster.
right.
It's really weird that came out at that, because I've been playing, my favorite game is Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Ooh, yes.
That's like one of my top games of all time.
Yeah.
I love my little squares. I was playing that like last week.
Oh,
And then the rumors popped up that they were, and I've always wanted to replay, or like play for the first time, Final
Yeah.
Fantasy Tactics, but I just like never really wanted to put up with like the weirdness of it. Because it's so hard to go like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, already an old game. Mm-hmm. But then to me back even further, I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me. And then like we're remastering it, and I'm like, oh my god, perfect, just what I wanted. But it's
Yeah.
like I also just want a new one. Like I feel like Final Fantasy is like the tactics games. Nah, we don't do those anymore. Like what's holding them back? Like I'm ready.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I feel like we've seen this, and I couldn't say an example. The first thing we get is the remake, and then that does well, and they start to do more within the...
Yeah,
Once
I
the
can see
interest
him
is proven.
picked it up in
Hopefully.
some way for sure. And like this has been, I mean, since the NVIDIA leak, which was like all those games, if you remember, that was like 4 years ago. And it was all these games that they're like, oh, this is just a bunch of placeholder text. Like, okay, but 99% of them were real. And Tactics was on there. The Final Fantasy IX remake was on there. So everyone's holding their breath about that. But for years now, everyone's been like, Final Fantasy Tactics, getting the big remake. It's coming. Tactics remake. And so I like Tactics. I'm not, I didn't finish it back in the day, but I liked it. And now it's like, is that going to be enough? Are people happy? Because like, you know, they kind of smoothed over some of the pixels, and they have the old version and the new version. And they do say the new version is like, okay, smoother graphics, but then also, how do they word it? Yeah, story enhancements on top of quality of life stuff. So I'm curious to see like how that works. And I really want to have like the old look. Give me some chunky pixels, combine then with the story enhancements, but it seems like it's going to be kind of like two separate modes that you can pop into for what you want from Final Fantasy Tactics. But Tactics fans, you let me know if this is exactly what you wanted, or if you're expecting a little bit more of like, I'm not talking 7 remake treatment for a remake, but maybe a little more than just we smoothed over the stuff and things are a little bit better now overall.
I liked the style initially, the painterly sprite hybrid kind of, and then I saw people say it looks AI upscaled, and maybe it just is, but it looks good to me. I like it looked unusual.
Did you guys see the creator, Matsuno? He had this post. Is this worth reading? Let's go ahead and read it.
Yeah, start to finish.
He says, nearly 30 years ago, the collapse of Japan's bubble economy engulfed the nation's financial institutions in mountains of bad debt. Sounds like the scroll to sort of a good RPG. Triggering a wave of corporate bankruptcies, a sudden and extreme rise in unemployment rates, and stagnation of Japanese society as a whole. It was an era when many were robbed of hope, when dreams were measured by their price tag. Against this historical backdrop, I crafted a story. It was the story of Ramza, a young man who fought tirelessly against the entrenched social class system. It was the story of Dalita, who sought to take advantage of this confusion and despair to advance his own social position. It was a story of a peculiar destiny in which friendship and betrayal intertwine. Now, in 2025, a time when inequality and division are still deeply rooted in our society, I offer this story once again.
Take it seriously this time.
Yeah, the will to resist is in your hands. Pre-order now. Final Fantasy.
Pre-order now.
That's such an interesting
Oh my
angle of like,
gosh.
if he's got to write something, it's better than just like,
What a
it's
great
nice to see
marketing
this.
spin.
I know. It is a good angle for sure. And I saw that apparently in the voice cast, because it seems like some of those quality of life enhancements, is like there's going to be some voice acting in this at least. But I don't know if you know this weird thing, but there are characters you can get in the original Final Fantasy Tactics, and it's Cloud and Aerith, like transporting to the world of Ivalice. And so it looks like the voice actors from 7 Remake and Rebirth are going to be in Tactics as well, which is that's cool. That's fun to have it all tied together. Other big takeaways, things we haven't hit on from State of Play that popped out for y'all?
There's the Marvel one.
Hell yeah, there's the Marvel
Tōkon.
one. And it's called...
Marvel Tōkon Fighting Tournament? What are the last 2 words?
Fighting Souls?
That's a great
I
question.
use all my brain space to remember Tōkon.
Yeah, it is Marvel Tōkon Fighting Souls, everybody.
Okay.
This was, again, open with the new enhanced games, and then you close with a new Marvel fighting game, specifically one made by Arc Systems Works. So the Guilty Gear developers, those games look absolutely amazing. But then also the Dragon Ball Fighters team. And so for a long time, people have been wondering of like, okay, Dragon Ball Fighters was a long time ago. Are you guys making a sequel to that? Like, you kind of got all the characters in there. I don't know what you do. And then the big reveal of like, oh no, there's a whole kind of dev diary baked into this state of play. So we kind of get a little bit of backstory here, but I guess how it worked is PlayStation went to ArcSys and they said, hey, would you guys want to make a Marvel fighting game? And they're like, I don't know if we're talented enough, but yes. And then together they went to Marvel, and then PlayStation's like, we got ArcSys on board, and Marvel's like, we can't say no to like the greatest fighting game developers in the world at this point. Like, of course we're on board. Now this is leaving Capcom out in the cold, because when it comes to Marvel tag team games, you think there'd be one studio in mind, which is Capcom, and so leaving that behind, it is Marvel versus Marvel instead for this all Marvel fighting game.
How
thing.
sick would it be if it was Marvel versus Arc System Works and his Guilty Gear characters and stuff?
I was thinking too much about this too, thinking about like, oh my god, what if the sequel, if they may eventually make it, which is, you can't have a Marvel fighting game that's like tag team focused and not start thinking about the verses, right?
Yeah.
Like with that lineage, like that is where it really blossomed into something special. And so thinking about like, if the sequel was like, since PlayStation is making this with them and it's a huge three-way production here between them, if it's like Marvel versus PlayStation for a follow-up,
That'd
or
be pretty cool.
is everybody sitting down? And this is like, Sarah, you can cast me to the darkest depths of the internet, not the dark web, but the dark depths of like the normal internet.
Yeah, like
What-
Facebook.
Yeah, like Facebook.
Sure.
Yeah, but imagine if it was the follow-up and it was just like Marvel versus Dragon Ball, and it was just like Dragon Ball Fighters, but then versus these wacky Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Would
Wow.
people freak out, or would people freak out, Sarah?
Incredible.
I know one person would.
It might be. But the big thing here is, hey, this is take team matches. You know, you've had your 2v2s, you've had your 3v3s, baby stuff. This is a
Losers.
4v4.
Finally. The technology can handle what they've always wanted to do.
I would say the big takeaway is that Arc Systems is designing all of the characters.
Yeah.
And so they look kind of in their art style, and they look different from what you recognize as like the Western take on all of these classic Marvel characters. That was really cool to see. And also to hear them speaking Japanese, which I hope they just keep it to just Japanese.
That would be
dialogue
so
cool.
awesome.
It's so good. Like hearing all the Marvel characters, screaming in Japanese. And the one line that killed us is when Spider-Man's out there and goes, Spidey sense, as he's doing like a big kick.
Of course.
Yeah, and again, I think this is, it feels so fresh when people might be a little bit burned out on Marvel overall, but suddenly it's like, oh no, the motto they had was, quote, from Japan to the world, and having just like this Gundam-looking version of Iron Man. It's like, this feels unique enough. People want to embrace this from like a studio like ArcSys. Yeah, of course. But the thing with 4v4, before I forget, because that does sound intimidating and overwhelming, but the way they explain it in the video is like, oh, you can just kind of main one character and then have 3 assist characters pop in and help you a little bit. Like you don't need to be mastering all 4 necessarily. If you want to just focus on one and have just very helpful assists from the other 3, that's a way to play
Like
it
the
as
health
well.
pool shared then, or?
No, I guess it'd probably be separate, but then I guess that would be weird if they're just sitting there. Maybe there's a different mode of like health pool collection with assist versus 4 different health bars as you're swapping between all these folks. But yeah, it's cool to see like Miss Marvel in there and Spider-Man, and like, you know, they're going to get to a Cyclops reveal eventually and everyone's going to freak out and be like, oh, my MVC2 is back. We're here. But it is like, it was crazy to see how much fighting game stuff was here from Sony. Because like they own Evo now, right? And they had the first official PlayStation fight sticks, which is weird that they have not made one yet.
That was weird.
And then they also had the Mortal Kombat collection, where Digital Extremes is not doing the full documentary Gold Master series treatment, but it's like, hey, we are making a wild collection of all the old Mortal Kombat games with all the different versions in one. If you want to play the Super Nintendo Genesis, you want to play the Game Gear, Game Boy version of all these old Mortal Kombat games, along with like documentary footage and stuff like that. Like, I think that's going to be fun. So Japan-centric and fighting game-centric is a good niche for Sony's state of play, I think, if we're not getting the new God of War game, the new Spider-Man game, like all those huge things. Like, I think it was a success.
Yeah, it's 2 things that were in my wheelhouse. So it being such a big, long chunk, it was kind of like the last quarter of the state of play.
Yeah.
I was checked out a little bit, but it is a weird thing to end with in a way that I respect.
Yeah. Also got a new look at Pragmata as well, which is that new IP from Capcom that has been development for a long time and constantly delayed. It's the game that looks like it's a Kojima game, but it's not a Kojima game, where it's the little girl, little robot Alicia, riding the big guy and kind of the mechy suit looking thing.
So you got a little bit of dad weapon wheel. For
You're
the
right.
fans out there.
Yeah. If you're craving like Dad Weapon Wheel, I think Pragmata from Capcom. Is that doing anything for you, Sarah?
Ew. It literally looked like, okay, I'm gonna be mean for a second. It looked like people who played Death Stranding, and you're like, I wish this baby was like kind of hot and rode on my shoulder and talked to me.
Sarah, this girl is like 9 years old.
Yeah, but like they glowed her up. That doesn't look like a child to me.
Pragmata, pre-order now. They say 2026 in the works. Yeah, great show. You can check out our reaction on YouTube if you want to see that full thing.
Thank you for saying that.
You betcha.
Somebody had to.
Someone needs to have a freaking soul. Sarah, Nightreign.
Oh my god, so fun!
Is it?
I'm
Is it?
literally obsessed.
Okay.
Literally, I'm obsessed with
You
it.
love some multiplayer games. I know you love Elden Ring.
I love multiplayer games. I love Elden Ring.
I did not know how it's going to sit, even with somebody like you. I feel like it could go either way, but this is working.
It does. It starts off like a little rough. Like the learning curve is it's literally vertical, I feel like. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that it's like, oh, like my TikTok is just entirely Nightreign stuff. And it's like, did you know? Did you know? And I'm like, no, where were they hiding this information? But it's just such a fun game. I've played Elden Ring a ton.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a new way to enjoy Elden Ring. Like I'm using items I've never used before. I'm using spells I've never used before. And it just feels so good to like get to engage with it in sort of like a non-penalizing way.
Right,
the
you're not
runs-
committing to like a
yeah.
full 100-hour run.
Yeah, the
Like-
runs are like only 30 minutes a run. You do like day 1, day 2, day 3, hit up the boss. But it's like every run's a little bit different. And I pick up different spells and like you don't find the same things each time. And I just feel like it's been so fun to like I've never used this spell before. I've never used this weapon before. Like, let's see how it works. And like the bosses, because in Elden Ring, it's kind of a bummer when you beat a boss and you're like, okay, well, it's like bittersweet.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like, well, I'm never going to fight that boss again unless I commit another 20 hours to this game.
And you just miss them.
And you're like, I wish I could have like tried that boss again, but with like different items, like a different build. Like I
Right.
really only want to fight this boss and I don't want to have to fight that boss. And with this game, it's like the mini bosses are sort of randomized, but it's nice that it's like you get to play them enough where you can actually feel like you're getting better at it. Like you can win consistently against them.
Yeah.
And I think that's so much fun. I think the multiplayer aspect is great because it's like I've always wanted to enjoy this From Software antics with my friends, like the Souls antics, where like you're literally fighting for your life. You're running across the map. The things like the circle's closing in and like the fell omen Morgoth like falls on you from the sky. And you're like, everybody's screaming. We're all fighting for our lives. And it's like, he literally just spawned on us. Like, what are we supposed to do?
Like real welcome tour energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like people just lose their minds. And it's just so fun to like get to experience that with friends.
Yeah.
I will say, I've only played with like a few randoms and like I do get attached with them, but like it is kind of a bummer that you really need 3 people. And like
Yeah.
it really shows the communication that you need.
Are
'Cause,
you
like,
on voice chat with these?
Oh yeah, we're on like Discord because it's
Okay.
like we need to communicate like where we're going, what we need. You know what the boss is weak to
Right.
before you go into the map. So it's like, okay, we need like holy, we need lightning, and then you dive in, you look for where the lightning is, and you can mark it on the map. But it's like you kind of have to be on the same page when you're sprinting in the field. And when you first start playing, you don't have that map sense. And I felt like stuff was just going by so fast. I literally was like, this is impossible. I don't know how people do this. But then once you're on your like 10th game, you're like, yeah, I know. Let's hit up that camp. We'll go into this cave, get a smithing stone, and then we'll hit up a church to get our flasks ready. And then we'll check to see if we get any drops from the lightning. And it's just like, I feel like a fun new way to experience Elden Ring. It is only $40.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like I got $40 of fun out of this.
Is it? This is something we didn't cover last week, but like, is it literally the Elden Ring map and there's like circle here, circle here, circle here, or is it like a
No,
remix?
so
version?
it's like a like a remix, right? Like
Yeah.
like it's mostly Limgrave, I feel like, and then it's not really much, and they kind of piece it together. And then what happens is you drop on the map and you see the circle, and you don't really know. It closes in a few different areas each time, but you don't really know where it's gonna close. So it does get kind of annoying if you have to like sprint across the map. But what's nice is if you miss something, like say you miss a church,
Yeah.
like the next day, like day 1, day 2, it reopens and you go pick it up again. And I also really enjoy how like death doesn't feel penalizing. Like in Elden Ring, dying is like a big deal. Like when you die, you lose your souls. You're like, I gotta do that all over again. Maybe I lost a level. I have to run back to the boss. That's really annoying. Like you're like, I died, and I have to sprint through this cave again. But in Nightreign, you die, and then your friends just come over and like beat the heck out of you for a little bit, and then you're back. You know?
It's
And
nice
it's
way to put
kind of
it.
nice. Yeah, and it's so it feels like dying isn't as big of a deal. Of course, you could die and like lose a level, which is bad, but like it's only like 30 minutes in and out, quick adventure. If we lose, we lose. We try again. You know, and it's great because they have all the different characters and they all have very different play styles. I really like Recluse, the mage, Revenant, the summoner, and then there's like Iron Eye, the archer. And it's just so nice to go in and be like, I'm a magic user. I don't have to worry about my levels. I just have to find spells, and I'm good. Like I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like a little snack, a little Elden snack.
That's a nice way to put it. I don't think I was framing it that way in my mind. In my mind, it's like, oh, it's Elden Ring, but multiplayer, so it's going to feel more hardcore. But the fact is, like, no, it's Elden Ring without consequences. It's just like get in and have fun and mess around and then wipe.
Yeah.
Like that does sound fun.
Yeah, get in 30-minute adventure. Fight some crazy bosses from other Souls games.
Yeah. I'm stupid. What an idiot I am. It was my game of the year back in 2023. I don't know why I'm resisting a sillier remix version of it.
You really do need to like play with other people. Like some of the randoms are good, but yeah, I feel like the hardest part of the game isn't the game itself. It's just like finding two other people who are like willing to play with you and learn.
Because of my personality.
Same as Elden Ring proper. It's like this game comes out and I just see all my friends like so excited to be unpacking it together, discovering it together. Like getting so much out of this thing that I've like tried so many times in the past and have just bounced off of. And so it's like seeing them squatted up in the Discord and stuff. It makes me, when I think about it, it makes me feel kind of lonely and isolated. And
Yeah.
that's because the game sucks. So they got to make it better.
I mean, do you think, Sarah? I know this is uncouth. I mean, is it like one of your favorite gaming experiences of the year so far, or just like a fun novelty, or like?
I feel like it's one of my favorite multiplayer gaming experiences of the year because I didn't really like. I like Schedule One was fun, but it was like just okay. I wasn't really interested in Repo.
Yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite. I'm sorry, Leo. It's definitely I think one of my top multiplayer experiences of the year.
So Leo is pretty wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
for you.
I don't know what I would love a deep dive into just how Souls games have hurt Leo in the past.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Leo? You hate 3D Mario. You hate From Software.
He doesn't like dodging.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't like rolling.
I don't like roll around drink potions games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It stacks on itself. I'm not getting this, and now it's making me more and more upset because I wish I was getting it because it's clearly doing so much.
Have you ever streamed Elden Ring?
I streamed Sekiro.
Oh no, you can't.
No.
Everyone knows you can't stream Sekiro.
Come on.
But like,
No.
I am so thankful for the times that I was streaming Elden Ring. I mean, not like the beating the final boss, but everything else that I was streaming for Elden Ring, like having just like supportive nudges, like that community was unbelievable, and so I feel like that was crucial for getting me to love that game and like just getting over just a couple little humps, and then it's just like chill, run around some twisted green fields and slowly poke around. Like I feel like you get into that.
Maybe.
Maybe, man. Maybe.
I don't know. I really have tried a lot of them.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Let him.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
It's
I
okay.
just don't like
we
it.
don't like. I mean, Leo has a lot of Leo games.
Yeah, but it's really
I
nice.
sure do.
It's nice to shift away from blame about not playing Nightreign. Just like Leo should probably play Elden Ring.
It's if I was hurting for games this year, maybe I'd be thinking about it differently. But I got another new number one for the year to talk about in the next couple of weeks. So
That's crazy. I feel like I've been struggling this year.
it's been for Leo.
It's a Leo year.
Hey, for
I've
Leo,
been feasting.
including going back to the good old classic Last of Us Part 2
Yeah.
on PC. No return, we say, except for Leo. He says, I'd like to return to that game that came out the start of last year.
No return policy. I'll keep it.
This is the roguelike mode with Last of Us that we talked about on the podcast, like with Huber and Jacob Geller and stuff. I think it really was like the start of 2024. And then we all said, cool, novelty. And then what was this? You got a code for the PC version?
Yes, we had a code laying around, and I said, that will take this opportunity to finally try that.
Yeah.
Because obviously I like roguelike stuff. And honestly, I'm interested in any roguelike of that production value. You know, that's just novel and cool.
Right.
I went back to Returnal recently, too. That game is so good.
Yeah.
It's cool. I don't think I really took the time to learn that combat that much when I was first playing that game because I was not into the story and I was trying to just kind of move past it. And now when the motivation is my build and keeping the run alive, the stakes being if I die, I have to start the run over. There's automatically this story I'm caring about in every run, enough to be like really invested in playing just the right way, learning really how to maximize this combat against each enemy type with each set of items I end up having.
Yeah. And so it's just, does it feel more satisfying to play something that looks that damn good with a genre that you like?
Yeah, there's something really cool about that for sure. It great combat. It's really tense and scary, and you're fighting for your life, and you're getting knocked on your ass and shooting from the ground and sprinting back up. All that stuff feels and looks so good, and the way that mode is structured is really cool too. I think you're unlocking a lot really fast. It's really fun as it starts, and then unveiling new layers of the challenges within each level that you're trying to do, different types of levels, different characters with different quirks, and the fact that the boss is always the same at the end until you beat it once, and then it swaps to the next one.
What are these bosses like? I'm David, I'm in the fire, or is it like weird Rat King type stuff?
The Rat King I think is the last one.
Okay, fun.
But it is like the big arcade bloater, whatever, the big kind of manufacturer's raider captain boss. I forget if that was a boss in the campaign, but it's big mobs with a big boss as well. Distinct encounters for each type of each faction or whatever. It's fun.
It's just like fun comfort food.
Yeah, pretty much. And I have a setup where I can just press play on my headphones and pause on my headphones when I've got a podcast going, because you can't have podcasts going when you're doing this tense gameplay. But the slow Last of Us like workbench weapon upgrading stuff, I press play between rounds, and it's a perfect vibe, because it's a lot easier for me to boot up a podcast game, frankly. And this scratches both itches.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's sweet. It's like, because you were such a big fan of the factions, like multiplayer.
Yeah.
It just feel like, I like that core gameplay, and just having another approach in a similar way to factions of like, just let me play more of that in novel scenarios.
Totally, where I can be a little more headcanon with it, imagination, making my own builds. It feels a little more of a personal experience, which I always like.
Yeah, that's sweet. Last of Us Part 2. Maybe you don't watch the show. From what I see online, it'll just send you into a blind rage or something, but go back to that roguelike mode,
No, that's
everybody.
the virus, I think.
Oh, that's that virus.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Online discourse? I'll take the fungus. I didn't actually mean touching your hand.
True slobber on my knuckles.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Jeff, that's why you had to switch spots, Sarah. Jeff, you wanted to talk about a game called Nine Kings.
Nine Kings.
Nine Kings. Nine Kings has...
Welcome to my roguelike deck building segment.
Oh, here we go! Yay!
But listen, it's
You
not
never,
that...
I don't care for that tone. You embrace it. You love it.
Yeah.
You don't need to be defensive.
I do. What I was gonna say before you interrupted me was, as far as deck builders go, it's not that much of a deck builder, and so don't let that scare you away if you don't like deck builders.
Yeah.
But the core gameplay, it's more kind of strategy, auto battler,
Tower defense-y?
a little tower defense-y, which is not a genre I usually like. But but this kind of works. So. The core gameplay is you have this kind of grid, and you'll put your castle out, and then you'll build towers out, and then each battle, like a group of enemy character, like an enemy army, will come up, and like I wish you guys could see it, because they're like very like each character
Pixels.
is like a couple pixels, like
Yeah.
it's very tiny stuff. But so you have these giant armies that come out. And they battle each other. And the card aspect of it is, after each fight, you'll get 3 cards, and those are basically just things that you can build out. So you can put out an elf army, and they're archers, and so they'll attack from far, or you can build a tower that will shoot out, a ballista or things like that. And so you get a new one of those after every fight, and then you do another fight. Fights only last like about a minute. And it's all automatic. Your main castle has a catapult, so you just kind of click around, and so you're doing like the bare minimum of like actually interacting with a fight as it's going on.
Yeah.
But the rest of the game is just that kind of engine building that I like, where you are choosing which things you're getting to put out, and if you put out a duplicate on top of a unit that you already have, it makes it stronger, and you're just looking for interesting synergies between them that will do huge amounts of damage, and it just kind of spirals out from there. The name 9 Kings is that like you play as one king, there are 8 other kings that you will unlock. The ones that you're not playing as are the different armies that you're battling, and they each kind of have their own theme to it, and they will also have their own set of units and different towers and things that you can build as you're doing it. And it's just it's nice that the actual runs aren't that long. They take like 35 years that you play through, but each battle is a year. And so it's really like I got to the end of my first run. The main difficulty level 2 is easy enough that like you probably won't lose at it, which I also appreciate in a roguelike. But like I got to the end of my first run and it was like 37 minutes for 35 rounds. Like it's almost balanced to a T to just be like these short little bites where you're mostly just sitting back and seeing like, okay, like how is my build going? Like did I pick a smart thing, and is it like ramping up the way that I need to stay ahead of this damage curve?
Would you go all the way to say it's an auto battler, or is it more like an RTS?
It is.
What it looks like.
It is 100% an auto battler. The only thing that you're doing, like I said, is you're shooting out like your catapults. So you'll just like pick an area. It will show you like the area of effect, which you can increase depending on which cards that you choose and stuff. And like so, like every couple seconds, you're kind of like, okay, there's a lot of enemies there, so just hit there and then some there and.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's like all of the different armies that you pick will automatically go out, and they'll figure out where to space themselves, and then they'll go back and forth, and it's kind of just a goofy little fight. But it's like, 1,000 people in this tiny little square that you're watching, and like. I did a couple runs, and once a run is over, very Balatro-esque, you can choose to like continue going if you want, and that's when it like the damage really ramps up in like a stupid way. And like I had one run that it ended up lasting an hour instead. It like pretty much it got to 70 years, and it was like 70 minutes when it was over. But like the damages were like 7e to the 10th power or what and it shows you like each unit that you put out, because you're kind of expanding the grid of where you can put different things. It'll show you how much each one is doing damage wise. So it's really easy to parse like, okay, these guys are doing really well, so when I get an enchantment, I'm going to put it on those guys because they're like my heavy hitters and stuff like that. Right. And it's just very fun building out these different builds, and there's meta progression for each king. You can unlock things with different perks and kind of make subsequent runs easier, and it's just a really fun, chill kind of auto battler.
That sounds very appealing.
Yeah, May 23rd it came out. Early access on Steam.
There are 7 kings right now total.
What? Okay.
The last 2 will be unlocked at a future date.
False advertising. Where'd you find this?
It's Steam. Steam's algorithms got me.
Really?
They
it's
just
doing
have
a great job,
they do like it's turn-based Fest Thursday or whatever. So all these games are discounted, and like I can't help myself.
My discovery queue is ass.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I never get anything on there.
Leo games, they're rare.
You
it's
can't
a rare
define
breed.
them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no algorithm that's figured me out yet.
Split screen with some systems where numbers go up. Like, isn't that kind of your?
That's what fantasy life is, and I hate it.
The girl who steals your time. Fantasy Life I, everybody, from Level 5. Level 5 is back. The beloved developers. They've been around for so long, going back to Overblood. Do you know that the head of Level 5 was the writer and director of Overblood?
No.
Technically 2, but he wrote for Overblood 1, if you're a big PS1 fan.
Sarah
also been
hated
playing
that
this.
analogy.
I know.
Oh my God.
That little tidbit.
He could have said stuff about Game Informer, and he chose not to.
I know. I looked in her eyes, and I've never seen hatred boil in quite like that.
No, guys, I need you guys to help me, because I started this game in the tutorial, and the tutorial is probably only like an hour, but I think it took me 5 hours because I kept putting it down.
It was so boring.
And it was just so incredibly...
You're not done with that.
It's just so incredibly long. And it's like, I played the original Fantasy Life. I'll be honest, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
But the way
Give me some classes.
The way they like space everything out, I kept putting it down and just... I want to play it. I'm convinced it's a good game.
Yeah.
But I cannot force myself to pay attention to it for longer. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm like, is my brain rotted? And then I play Nightreign for 5 hours, and I'm like, no, we're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel similarly though of like for somebody who's this is right up their alley, I can't even judge it by those marks because I'm like wanting it to be something different than it is, than it's telling me that it is, and it keeps being what it is, and I'm not liking that.
And what it is
Run around, press A.
swap between different classes. You're going around and building up different numbers, leveling up, and like the charm. I remember from that first one, was it 3DS or DS? 3DS.
3DS.
Was just like the number of different wild classes and stuff that you could swap around to, right? Jeff, you're playing Fantasy
14 different lives, okay? Not jobs.
more valuable than the last.
Yeah, I am really liking it. I played it till 5 last night.
Whoa!
It's sick.
Literally
I'm like
5?
20
Your
hours.
life is so weird.
It is. It was such a stupid choice because then when I went to bed, the baby immediately woke up and was wide awake.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like,
was
hey, enough with the fantasy life, Dad.
I've done this. Yes. Yeah. So much for fantasy
They don't
life.
got dad in there.
It's one of the jobs.
That's
Yeah. Like this game for me, and I totally get it. And the tutorial is terrible, and you do it 14 times. They do let you skip it if you want to, but I'm a sicko and I haven't skipped it. I haven't even unlocked all of the different lives yet.
I didn't know you were supposed to. I thought you would just pick one or two and you'd be like, this is what we're rolling with.
No, they're all interconnected, Sarah. They've created and like, but I've gotten to the point where I appreciate that because I'm enjoying the separate ones. I honestly really don't know why, because as I was playing
not alone.
it was like this is so great. I love that there are all these different jobs that I'm jumping into, except it's really like any kind of farming, Stardew Valley type game, like these are all the jobs that you always do. But it's like, because they have made them these specific things, that's like clicking in my brain in the same kind of way that like Oblivion did, where it's like you have all these different skills, you level them all up, you're constantly leveling something up and like progressing and unlocking different skills. Each life has a different skill tree in this one that you're going through, and they just all, you get to a point where they just all synergize, and it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get a bunch of ore with my mining skills, and then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna become a blacksmith and I'm gonna use those. But I need cashmere to build this, so first I have to become a tailor and I'm gonna go get this wool, and then I'm gonna. But like I'm not high enough to do those yet, so I have to make these other clothes. But those clothes will actually help me when I'm being a hunter, and it's like, and it just becomes this big synergy that is also like, the game is really generous with all the resources and stuff. Like you cut down all the trees, you go in a hut, you come back out, all the trees are back, and you can just like farm whatever resources. I'm a sick person.
Jeff,
like,
can I introduce you to critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14?
Is it?
That
is it-
has
No, but I don't wanna-
that
I'm
literally
scared
has
of
like a very
MMOs.
similar class system with like crafters,
Yeah.
and it works the same exact way.
It probably would. I'm sure it would.
Because imagine
work on
feeling a
me.
level of shame that you have, but imagine there's like a subscription every month.
Yeah,
at
and
the
then
same
you
time
can pay for it.
Yeah.
to make you feel
that's-
good.
And
that
imagine
sounds
there's like a
terrible.
story that gets good after 100 hours or so.
Yeah, it's like they keep building in it in a way that just seems completely insane, because I had already put like 15 hours into it, and then it turns out you go to like a completely different continent that is just massive and has like shades of Breath of the Wild, where it's like you're going to different shrines that you can.
Hang
You
on,
don't
hang
go
on,
to a
yeah,
place
I'm-
with a bunch of different shrines, Leo?
Let's run around, press A in.
Yeah, like those are the controls. Everything that you do is you
It's
press
very
like
reductive,
three
obviously.
different. You press 3 different buttons.
My
And,
real
like,
beef-
like all the gameplay is very simplified.
Yeah.
and so it is like the progression that is exciting me, and like, yeah, I can build a bunch of stuff. I can go sell it. I can use that to get more resources. I don't know why that works for me. That is my own broken brain. But like,
And run around press A can be great, and the crafting, like, tailoring, alchemy, the specific jobs where you are just kind of going from table to table, doing the quick time events of pressing A or twirling the thumbstick to do the crafting, that is like good enough to be interesting. As simple as it is, it's like, it's cute that I am making an item this way. I like being that engaged in the crafting. But for me, it's like I wish it was a little more interconnected because I am picking the jobs as I have my first few as like what is an interesting combination, alchemist and mage, you know, and then I get this spell as a mage where it helps me lower my stamina consumption when I cast it. And I go, okay, this is smart. I'll be a miner and I can mine rocks above my level because I can cast the spell to lower my SP consumption and then do the mining. But when you switch jobs, it undoes the effect you put on yourself as the mage, which is like, I wish there was more of that smart build stuff rewarding me. And that feels a little simplified from what I would find more engaging.
Each life and like the skill tree that you do is siloed from all the other ones.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're all carrying shame with this game, but just in different ways.
That's true.
What's yours?
Well, it's like I couldn't even get the tutorial.
Yeah. I was horrified when Leo, you said like, oh yeah, I want to play with my sweetie. You don't unlock co-op for like 4 hours.
3.5 hours of skipping every cutscene.
Yeah.
And then the co-op sucks! It was so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like a really different thing where you're like going on a distinct adventure where you can't do any of the stuff you want to be doing.
Okay, but
and it was like,
consider-
this was such a waste of our time.
Lock in, get your sweetie, Nightreign. Nightreign night.
Okay,
Separate
okay.
monitors. There's no duos, so you have to open up that marriage. Open the door.
You can do it from the start, right?
Yeah.
Great. Great design.
That's genius. You know, I think it's part of the magic of Fantasy Life. How much of it is just a really good name? Just like super
Yeah,
clear. Even at
that got
3DS,
me
it
in
was
the
like,
door.
this is it. This
Totally.
is what we gamers want.
And again, the novelty of the different jobs that I don't feel like I've gotten that much of a like skill tree for is
Right.
really cool.
I
and
just
really
feel like
appealing
they need
me.
to give me more and sooner.
And it is so
and let
much
me
story.
and let me work through it.
It is so
Yeah.
much story, and it is just one of those stories.
You do not want to spend any time with the story. Yes.
So does the girl steal time or not?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
I don't
all
care.
I care about.
Yeah.
Oh.
You ride a bone dragon.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't like stealing time. Sarah, were you all I remember is like on the A4 Play podcast, your alma mater. Like
Yeah.
Roy was like
the
obsessed with
original
this.
Fantasy Life. Yeah.
Was that your era of like playing that a lot?
Yeah,
Like,
I played
okay.
the original Fantasy Life, and I was like, it's so good. It's such a different
Yeah.
experience. But I think I've played other games similar to it
Mm-hmm.
that have given me more challenge, and I just feel like it didn't age up in
Yeah.
terms of like systems, you know?
And I you know, I say run around press A because I think it's evocative and funny, but
And
it is
literal.
sometimes that's good. I like the mining. The like spinning around the mines and the trees to find the sweet spot and doing the heavy hit to finish it off, like timing the last hit to be the heavy one to get the extra resources. That's simple and satisfying. And getting the buddies to help you do it, I do enjoy that for sure. But it was like wanting so hard to just like let me do my thing and let me play with my
Yeah.
sweetie, and there was so much in the way of that. And I will go back to it on Steam Deck by myself and see how I feel about just grinding stuff out.
Which is weird that they screwed up I haven't tried the co-op, but it's weird that they screwed it up considering you always have 3 other people running around with you, like 3 NPCs.
Yeah, but not in co-op. And you have to go and you get a room code. I had to make a keyword for Marie to search and then put in the password.
You okay, man?
It's just like, I sometimes you play a game and you're like, these people, like Fields of Mystria or Fae Farm, it's like these people are students of the genre.
Right.
They know what the quality of life features are that we need to be comfortable and to be past the bar in this series. And sometimes you play a game and it's like, have they played a video game before?
Yeah.
Have they thought about what they might want out of one?
Yeah, it's crazy because like they really upsold the co-op too when they were like advertising the game because people love
Yeah.
co-op. Like co-op is kind
Yeah.
of like the new normal,
Got us
right?
in there.
Everybody expects games to have co-ops in it, and then it's like they don't understand why, and then they just completely fumble.
I would love to just drill them on just these basic ideas. Like, how do you not understand the basics of people want to play this game with other people? Why are you torturing them? What is this?
Why do you hate them?
Fantasy Life. I mean, the reviews are. I give it a 9. Like, people are Steam reviews are pretty good.
it's great.
You know, like, oh, it's great.
I definitely feel like there's a good game, but I fear my brain may be too. It needs to spin faster
Okay.
for the games that I've been playing lately,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
I feel like
You're
I
on
have
another
just
level.
played a ton of games that my brain does not work at the speed and pace at which Fantasy Life wants me to progress.
Yep.
So it's
And you-
not the game's fault. I need faster.
And you
I-
wouldn't think a
yeah.
game like this would have such a slow start. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of
Although-
expect to get in and do it.
I don't know. I can see the vortex you all are swimming in. You know, I see it, and it's like, God, I'm scared to jump in because I know that feeling of that type of game, and just okay, all right, one more tutorial. Here we go.
It's
here we go.
tutorials. It's like, okay, one more text box.
Yeah.
Okay, go somewhere. Okay,
I
text
can't
box.
do it
Okay,
anymore.
no,
I can't do it
no,
anymore.
no.
I'm a 38-year-old man. I cannot do that specific flavor anymore. Speaking of 38-year-old man, thanks everybody who supports us on Patreon. Greatly appreciate you all out there. Any help spreading the word's appreciated. And here's a special thing you can spread the word about if you'd like. If you subscribe to this very podcast on your favorite podcast app, subscribe to this very podcast, and you leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Jeffem. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts with some way to contact you. This could be Instagram handle, could be Discord, could be Twitter, could be Blue Sky. You're in the running to win a Switch 2. If you're hearing us talk about the Switch 2, you're feeling the FOMO. You say, I would like a Switch 2. Oh, and this is free, by the way. We're not going to make you pay for this. We are giving away one Switch 2. If you would like one, subscribe to the MinnMax Show podcast. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Leave that username on one of those platforms so we can reach out to you. We're going to be randomly picking one winner on June 10th. June 10th, a full randomization of the latest wave of reviews on Apple Podcasts for the MinnMax Show. So get in the running. It'll be a fun time to see who is going to win a Switch 2! Yeah! Dun, 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 dun. Also, shout
Doesn't
out...
come with welcome tour though.
No,
You don't
welcome
have
tour
to.
you provide on your own.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it kind of feels right, doesn't it?
No.
The deadline for the MSA contest is 1 month from today, by the way, July 5th.
Oh,
for
good.
the MSI competition.
Good to know.
One
Forgot
month.
to say that.
Tight turnaround for us. Also, thank you to our dear friends at I'm8bit. They want everybody to know about Diablo. They're not talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the final boss. Why, no, they're talking about the 4 vinyl set for the vinyl soundtrack to Diablo 4 specifically. It's an I'm8bit joint, so of course it looks absolutely gorgeous. It includes the 8th sound in-game mount trophy for Diablo 4, music by the composers. It looks fantastic. It's I'm8bit. Help support them directly by getting these things in their wonderful online store. You can use the promo code throughout the month of June for 10% off. That promo code, of course, for the month of June, Melted Ice Cream. Melted ice cream for 10% off of everything under $10 or 10%. What am I saying? 10% off of everything under $100. And it's a wonderful online store. And you should help support I'm8bit because they support the MinnMax community in a huge way. So you can go to I'm8bit's wonderful online store and use that code. And here's the thing. They ship out a prize each and every week to whoever has the best questions submitted over there on Patreon. If you support us at any tier on Patreon, if you support us at the $5 tier, you get a Star of Providence code on Steam, which is
Not
pretty
bad.
sweet.
Which pays for itself.
Yeah, if you jump in before the 9th. But jump in at any tier, you can submit a question for the podcast. We choose our number one favorite. And this week, thanks to I'm8bit, we're shipping out the World of Warcraft Classic double vinyl soundtrack. They're in a Blizzard kind of mood.
Those are fun songs to have on vinyl.
Yeah, for sure. So there you go. Thanks to I'm8bit. They're really shipping out a prize to whoever we deem is the best question. So, Sarah, you ready to hear all these questions and remember every single one and then choose the one that we like the most and that person gets the prize from I'm8bit?
Yes.
Stop us if you've heard this one before.
You thinking about it tells me that you're confident in your answer.
I
You
was
really
thinking about
considered it.
saying something and I chose not to say it in the moment.
God bless you. George Sneezy writes in.
More people should do that.
George Sneezy writes in and says, Summer Game Fest, State of Play, Nintendo Direct. If MinnMax created... This isn't beat poetry. If MinnMax created their own showcase event featuring new game announcements and the like, what would you all call it?
You mean like instead of like a direct showcase, state of play?
We'd have to kind of choose one of those.
God, a lot of them are taken.
We'd probably be humble and it wouldn't even have MinnMax in it, right?
Yeah, that would be
It'd
the
be about the
smart
games.
business.
No, it's all about the business, man.
Okay.
MinnMax presents.
MinnMax presents.
Yeah.
It's pretty close
MinnMax
to
presents the MinnMax experience, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty close to MinnMax
Or-
Spotlight. We can already have that.
Or
too.
MinnMax presents.
That's a
And
fun
these are
idea.
presents that we give.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good. And every
That's
time
great.
somebody says it, we're like, we have to correct them.
Yeah.
Like you say, two ends, except it's like presents.
Like that it's summer game fest and not summer games fest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be that equivalent. We'd be really hoity about it, like get up in everyone's face.
I like that a lot.
Presents. I do wonder, kind of funny for a while, did like showcases. I don't think they've done one for a couple of years.
Right.
And I just kind of look at them as our big bruddies. And so I look at them and they're like, oh, they probably stopped doing that because that was probably really freaking hard. But every once in a while I do think, like, is there something there? Would that be kind of cool to I don't know. Get in the showcase game.
Do a showcase? There's a ton of
That's
showcases
the thing. There's
now.
so many more than you think.
I feel like every week there's like another showcase popping up that I didn't know about.
Who do I love more than IOI? And when they announce they're doing their own showcase, I go, really?
You too?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny kind of partner with the mix. That's right. Maybe they're kind of getting that other system there, but they did a great job with it. Hauling Gas writes in, hey, folks, simple question. Will Leo stop looking at the screen? No, you're okay. Hey, man, look away. There's no
Wow.
notes.
Oh, it's
we
fine
were
when
just-
Leo does it. That's
Wow,
crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Anything's
there's something
permitted.
weird like about like even if I'm reading a book.
I think it's because Sarah famously judges Ben for lots of things constantly.
Oh,
He's probably expecting being yelled at for something.
I
I
noticed that. Do you ever have that thing different? Like if I'm reading like a book to my kid and my wife's like, laying on the bed too and she'll like watch it. Like every time I stumble over a word, I feel like, oh, I'm such an idiot. I feel like it's a weird level of self-consciousness about like just basic reading, but
Does she belittle you?
yes,
Oh,
of
okay.
course. Just
Well,
like
that
Leo's
explains it
about
then.
to the way I butcher this question. Hey folks, simple question. Do you
Wrong.
think you're a patient person? I found that different people have different definitions of being patient, whether it's being able to wait in a queue for a long time or to tolerate a rude person's attitude. What does it mean to you? Are you a patient person?
I think I'm patient with people, and with technology, I have a really short fuse.
And that it extends into like gaming, kind of rage
Yeah.
gaming and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like Leo, but also people.
Do you, I mean,
Short
are you, like in a car, are you like a freak out in a car kind of guy? Like trying to drive down record off the road level of.
I swear. Hey,
right,
I was
stop
the
it,
most
stop it,
fucking
stop it.
patient person on the planet on that day.
Every day with Dan, you were the most patient person on the planet. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, no. People annoy me when they drive.
Yeah.
Because they drive so poorly. I try very hard to be patient, and I'm more conscious of it now because I don't want my kid like I'll hear my kid playing with a toy in the other room, and every now and then like it'll fall over, and he'll be like, "Come on!"
Oh no.
And it's like, oh man, you're getting that from me, aren't you? So I have to like teach him, and then sometimes he'll see that I'm upset, and he'll be like, "It's okay, Dad. Take a deep breath and count to 10."
Really?
Because I've done that to him as well.
Wow.
And he'll throw it back in my face.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, but it's a
cute.
it's a struggle. I have triggers. Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I don't know. I think everyone's probably in the same camp where no one's like yes or no. It's like some things yes very much and some things no. Where I think about like, God, am I a patient person? I'm like, wait, like with video editing, I think makes you a patient person in some ways. Where it's like you got to be pretty patient to just comb through 10 hours of Summer Game Fest footage and just patiently go through it and piece it all together slowly. Like there's a certain amount of patience that comes for kind of like the zen of video editing, I think. And I think I'm pretty patient with people, but like we had so minimal, but even just like corporate nonsense or business.
Yes.
I feel like I have zero patience. Like to the point that I'm
Agreed.
sure I was a dick 1,000 times a game for him. Like, just get to the point. Just do the thing. Like, can we just do this thing and get it over with? Like, stop having unnecessary meetings. And we had like, again, very, very bare minimum a Game Informer, but still just like company bureaucracy. I have that much patience.
Yeah. I feel that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like if you want to feel like we're at least accomplishing one little thing,
Yes.
and that is not the feeling.
Yes. Oh. Sarah, are you patient?
I feel like I like corporate bureaucracy because if you can extend it long enough, you don't really have to do your job at all. So it's like
Okay.
I'll forward you to as many people as you need, and we can have as many meetings on the calendar because then it's like I can say that I was working, but let's all be honest, we're in a meeting together talking about working and then not actually doing it.
Beat the system.
This basically is a meeting right
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
Yeah, we just
Think about
record
it.
them.
Yep. I don't know. I feel like I'm like fairly patient, but it's like I won't outwardly show when I become impatient for the most part. Like if I'm in public, you know.
Yeah, I think I've seen you be impatient.
That's
not-
because
that's private.
it's you specifically.
Oh, really? It's a different layer.
Yeah.
Do you think you have a shorter fuse with me than most people?
I feel like I kind of do, but I feel like it's because we're exact opposites.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
Because I asked you why you won't hook up Ethernet to your basement today. And you had this really long excuse about why you won't put Ethernet in your basement. And then I found out you were streaming off Wi-Fi. And it's apparently caused a lot of issues in your life.
Look how patient this man is, though.
I am going to explode. It's not that I am aware that screwing up a Wi-Fi is not ideal. It's a longer, more complicated story that's intertwined in a lot of different things.
And then
I am aware. And it was an issue once in one stream.
And
once.
then again today for this podcast.
We're in the middle of the day. What am I gonna do?
Okay, you lost your patience, cred. That's all it took.
Do you take my suggestion seriously about it, or are you just being nice by saying
No,
yeah,
let's do
sure?
it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Jonathan Din. Jonathan Din. Hey, everybody. I finished up my Doom the Dark Ages playthrough and found myself trying to 100% the levels on my first playthrough and realized halfway through that it kind of ruined the vibe for Doom. Do you all go for 100% on an initial playthrough or not? Or is it dependent on the genre of game where 100% runs affect the pacing like it did for me in Doom?
I can't remember the last time I finished a game. I'm not 100%ing anything. Come on.
But you strive to. You 100% the first 7 hours of everything.
Yeah, maybe that's my problem.
Yeah.
I've tried to cut down on that. But even when I don't, we play so many games. How do you guys do it?
100% it.
How do you guys finish a game?
Oh, period?
Yeah.
I'm not someone to ask about this for sure. I do feel like I 100% the first 5 hours of a lot and then fall off. And that, I do think, that might be a problem. But I also end up liking the side content the most, And I always tell myself, if I really love the game, I'll finish it while doing everything in it, and I'll want to play it as much as possible. But I do wonder if I would like more games more often if I saw them through, even if I let more things go.
I feel like if you feel like you got 100% of what you wanted out of the game, it's not worth it to 100% it.
Yeah.
Because I don't do a lot of side content stuff unless it's I know that it's decent side content stuff, and I can get 100% of what I want out of a game without playing it 100%. I stop when I feel like if I go any further, my experience will degrade.
Yeah, and I don't want to feel like I have an obligation to get 100% because when it becomes an obligation, that's when I quit playing
Yeah.
it. But on the other hand, I was super invested in getting every stamp and welcome tour today.
We had to.
Thought I'd be above that.
There was no choice.
Yeah.
I wish there was a choice. There was
Yeah, that's
truly
true.
no choice, yeah. People said ask Haley. I think she's clearly the person to go to ask all these things. Sarah, did you are you still playing Claire Obscure? Mm-hmm. Where you, without spoiling anything, where are you at roughly?
I'm
Act 2?
middle act 2-ish.
Middle Act 2. You digging it?
Yeah, I really like it.
How thorough are you being on that one?
I mean, I don't really quite understand the thoroughness of it. I haven't looped back to anything yet.
Okay.
And tried to clean up any bosses. I'm just trying to get through the story.
Have you been poking around on the world map and stuff?
I poked around. I poked a little bit.
She
I
poked.
found some stuff. But yeah, mostly I just feel like I need more levels. And then once I get to a point where I feel like, okay, I can go back and start to explore a little bit more, then I will.
Yeah. Are you streaming all of it?
Yeah.
Okay. How's that going? Doing that with the community watching you?
Well, the community's not too bad, but the issue is I only stream Thursdays and Saturdays. So it's a big gap between Saturday and Thursdays, and I have to relearn the dodging and all that.
What characters are setting up what with moves? Okay.
The characters I'm fine with, but it's just the feeling of the dodging. I kind of have to relearn.
Right.
This is Claire Obscure to me feels like a kind of game that you want to play it every night for a couple weeks. So when you're really in sort of you really get how it works and you're in the swing of it and you understand the parrying and you don't forget anything. It's hard to take big breaks, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I started Claire Obscure last night.
Oh, did you? Nice.
First hour, cool, great setup.
Isn't that a cool setup?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad it's it's doing its job of getting its hooks into people who don't even really like that type of genre just with that opening, you know? And so if oh god, if it gets you and you keep playing Leo, oh, I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we finished up The Deepest Dive this last week. If you want to check that out on YouTube or it's in the bonus podcast feed if you're a $5 supporter where you get that Steam code for Star of Providence. But yeah, loved it. It was so fun to unpack that game's ending. I feel like the internet's been really great about not spoiling things in that game, which is fantastic. So the water's still warm for a great game. Jump on in. Splash. Renzo writes in and says, with so many games revealed during these showcases every year, has there ever been one you initially dismissed or didn't think was for you, but later it got a lot of praise and you ended up
loving it. You ended up loving it.
and you ended up
loving it.
You ended up-
Enunciate that.
but later it got a lot of praise and you ended up loving it.
Perfect. Great job. See, positive reinforcement.
Positive
Floor's
reinforcement.
yours.
I famously fucking I feel like I'm being the first to answer a lot of these. That one game I like.
What is he talking about?
Yeah, the game you like, Hitman?
With the
Riders
The guys
Republic.
in it.
Skinwalker?
Skinwalkers?
That was
Are you
an
thinking of
MMO, and then
Skinwalker?
it's turned
Skincare?
into a co-op game.
An MMO fave
Instead of
farm?
just getting shut
MMO
down, they said now it's a co-op game.
Fortnite.
The Division.
Starts with a W. Wayfinder? Wayfinder.
Oh.
We were streaming the reaction to that, and it was like after a bunch of games that were like looter action games like that, and I was like, how are we supposed to react to this? Who cares? But then I played it at SGF on the show floor, and
Yeah.
it was solid, and I played a lot at home. It was great.
Yeah, it is fun to think of like the trailers in particular were like fart. I'm sure like the announcement of like Call of Duty Black Ops 4, I probably looked at the screen and said fart. And then that ended up being like one of my favorite games of the year. Like just got so into that blackout battle royale mode. So it's nice to have those like types of surprises. I was even thinking of like, you know, the kind of biggest surprises along the way of like, I was a Telltale fan. I enjoyed Telltale games. I feel like I knew what Telltale games were. I don't care at all about Walking Dead. So when they announced that, I'm
Sure.
like, okay, yeah, I'll skip that one. And then they'd be like, oh no, that turns out it's one of the best games of 2012. Like who would have thought that they would hit it so far out of the park?
Was that not one of the first ones?
Telltale games? No. I mean, it was the first one that like blew up in a big new direction. But if you want to go back to like Jurassic Park, Back to the Future,
Sam and Max.
Wallace and Gromit, Puzzle Agent, Poker Night at the Inventory,
I reviewed
they got
Wallace
that kind
and
of
Gromit,
early
that's
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Jeffem?
I don't think so.
Good. Eric Perez writes in and says, "Hey everybody, if spiders could talk and you can reason with them, would you like them or at least be okay with them living with you?"
I would love to say I'm gonna go first again. I would love if you could say you can build a web there.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is your corner.
Stay out
Yeah.
of the bedroom.
Yeah.
You can
If-
even make like a really easy little room for them. You know, just like a
Well,
little Kleenex box. Like just stay in here.
I just want to
Yeah.
communicate, like, this is where the bugs come in. I know this is where the bugs come in. If you could
Right.
watch this for me,
It's best
for
that would
both
be
of us.
incredible.
Yeah.
Also, a PS, do you eat ants? Do spiders eat ants?
they got
They
to.
probably eat anything that goes on their web, right?
But they love the flying things, I guess, because that's what goes in their web. Flying ants. Yum yum.
Wow.
Humans eat ants.
My
Wow.
aunt makes me food to eat. Also.
Only ants. Hey, it's been a long day. So
An
Resnet
hour 7 of content.
Resnet writes in and to say, hey, MinnMax, if y'all got a portal gun tomorrow, how long do you think it would take until you seriously hurt yourself? You'd have to like be really careful, like only against walls, carefully step through. Like,
yeah, gosh, it'd be scary.
Yeah.
yeah, I would need it only
And
wall
we don't
usage.
get, because I think she had those, like, special shoes, right? So she
Yeah.
didn't get hurt from, like,
Springy
falling.
bounce thing. Yeah,
I would need that. I don't know. I think I'd be afraid to use it.
Where would you use it, practically speaking?
I feel like I would turn to crime if I had a portal gun.
But you have to like go to both places.
You do,
right?
but you can like set one up, like you know, before you go to bed at night, set one up in front of the loo, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's like I don't want to go to bed, but I guess I gotta go to the bathroom.
Wasn't that a Family Guy joke? Are
Well,
you
yeah.
just stealing Family Guy content now?
I just got Family Guy playing on YouTube. They made a joke about a portal gun.
I feel
course.
like Family Guy or
No, The Simpsons had the
Simpsons.
one where they had
it was a teleport.
it was the teleport, and he was
yes.
like reaching his hand in to grab the beer.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, wasn't he like starting to set up in the bathroom? The Marge is like,
I
don't.
think something like that.
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
Marge was in there or something.
No, that's
It was
And
the
he peed
Treehouse
on
of Horror, the
Marge.
fly parody.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm ripping off accidentally.
Wow.
So shame on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You could take a tour of a bank, sneakily shoot a portal into the vault.
I was thinking, like,
Back later.
I was thinking, like,
Like yeah, behind a door as it's open. Like where could you possibly hide a portal? There's got to be some way.
I would, like, steal and sell secrets in corporations. I would do corporate espionage, I think.
Oh, that'd be fun.
But you'd still have to go in there and shoot a portal, and it would be a giant glowing
No, like,
thing on the
you
side
would
of
put
the
it
wall.
behind, like, you'd pull, like, the screen down or something. You'd do it behind, like, a TV, or you'd hang something up in front of it.
Yeah.
You could help people who are unjustly put in prison.
Yeah.
Take a tour of the prison. Say, hey, lift up that poster real quick.
Yeah. Hey, Rita Hayworth, I got something for you. Ka-bing! Sincerely, Eric writes in. They say, hey, MinnMax, they say, what franchise are we forgetting about? Which is a question I am gaga over. I love that. That could be an entire episode of the podcast. What franchise are we all just forgetting about is big?
But if we remembered it,
That's the
it
conundrum.
wouldn't be forgetting it.
That's exactly it. So I tweeted it out to see what people would say. Joey over there at Kind of Funny, she says Viva Pinata. We're all kind of
Yeah, that's
forgetting
true.
about that collectively. I think that's true. Tack.
Great answer.
Great.
Tack
The
and
power of Juju. Absolutely.
Kidding me?
Kidding me?
Totally forgot about that.
There's stuff that's like one-offs, like Skies of Arcadia. Does it need to be multiple games for it to be a
I feel like it's
franchise?
gotta be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Because
see.
like we haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we forgotten
Skies
about
of Arcadia?
What about Level 5's Dark Cloud? You think that's been forgotten?
I'm proof. I'm living proof that that's been forgotten because I
Okay.
don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Good games, good games. Dude, you like Fantasy Life High? Then you'd love Dark Cloud. It's fun to see the DNA, actually. You like DNA, right?
Sure. I like seeing it.
Mr. DNA from
We got
Jurassic Park?
Spore.
Spore.
Speaking
yeah.
of DNA.
True.
Yeah. Well,
We had
that's
such
a
a good Spore
franchise 'cause
stream.
they had Dark Spore so that's technically a whole series of Spore likes. NBA Street, that's a great one. I posted on Blue Sky. This is everyone. They had really good suggestions. Mega Man X is a series we're forgetting about. Maximo is a series we're forgetting about. Toe Jam and Earl, we're all forgetting about.
Yeah.
I
well-
don't feel like I hear enough about Toe Jam and Earl. I hear too much about Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah, cool it. We got it. I mean, they announced that movie a while back.
Sure.
You're probably directing it.
That's
for
what
all
we,
we friggin'
that's
know.
what we need.
Yeah. What about this? I thought this was a good one from Cube Enigma. Army Men. Those games are probably sold tens of millions of copies. And it's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of people who wanted to play Army Men games on the PlayStation 1 and were they on N64? I think they were on N64 as well.
Huh. Based
Remember
on the
those
little
games?
green guys?
Yeah, yeah. They were solid little games.
Huh.
Of course, we got Louis Perez saying, with not E3 2025 going at full steam.
Naughty 3.
No kidding. It's interesting to think that the last regular E3 was on 2019. Was in 2019. They had that typo. I didn't mess up that. With SGF adding a physical event in 2023, nature is kind of healing. With all this in mind, what year will we hear the majority of people start saying E3 is truly back? My money's on 2027. Does that mean by the event or just the feeling
I
of
feel
the
like
summer?
people do they mean like it actually just becomes what E3 was? Because people have been saying E3 is back. I feel like every year. And then every year they also say E3 is actually really dead for sure this time.
I do think this year of SGF, we're at that turning point of like, you can put SGF in a headline, SGF predictions, the way we used to do E3 predictions, and most of the audience kind of is there with you, right? They get it.
Sure, but at the same time, it feels like it really snuck up. Like I feel like I didn't start thinking about it until midway through last week. And it doesn't feel like the tent pole that people think of, like, oh, E3's coming in June, like.
Yeah. I think it's the lack of like Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, like they all kind of do things around the event.
Yeah.
But it's scattered and it's not what it used to be, which was like all their best stuff that's coming.
And
We didn't know about the state of play till a day before.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
don't like that.
Yeah. At least Xbox is kind of calling their shot from a long ways away. But the idea of just kind of like, be excited for the state of play. It's coming tomorrow afternoon. Here we go. It's like you want to feel that.
It feels like they're
anticipation.
trying to announce it as fast as possible so we don't
Get hyped.
get hyped or have
Right.
expectations.
Yeah.
Kind of worked well for them this time.
Don't say
Yeah.
weak showing this year. It's like they weren't even there this year. That's right. If you think about it.
There is. It's easy to forget. They announced the ESA. Remember that they have the follow-up convention that's going to be happening in Las Vegas in April in 2026, and it's called Icon with 2 I's.
Sure.
So that is officially the follow-up to E3.
I don't like that name.
Great job.
Sarah, would you go to Icon with me?
I've never been to Vegas.
Okay.
That'd be kind of fun.
All right. Done.
When is it?
April 2026. I think it'd be fun to go to the first of this.
Yeah.
weirdo
Yeah.
I
thing.
didn't think about ever that
The first and last, probably.
Exactly my point.
right. That E3 Kings with Jeff Cork was the last E3 ever. Like, it's good that we got
Oh, yeah.
that we did coverage of that quality for the very last one ever. That's cool.
Game Informer's YouTube channel. If you check it out. Ricky Winterborn. Is there any positive aspect to developers showing deceptive tech demos like the infamous Killzone 2 E3 reveal trailer and now potentially this new Witcher 4 presentation? Even though I know they shouldn't overhype their games, I can't help but get excited to see graphics that good. Even if the actual game ends up being watered down. I never even played Killzone 2, but I watched that trailer like 10 times because it made me excited for the future of all video game graphics.
Huh.
I hear that. It is fun.
Yeah, that's cute. The answer is no.
Yeah. And you're a sinner, Ricky. Yeah, I mean, did you watch that Witcher 4 Unreal tech demo?
No, I've only seen like short clips or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I watched it, and like when they set it up and they're like, this is a tech demo in the world of Witcher 4, it was like, oh no, people are going to misrepresent this. Because the wild thing is like, this is running on a base PS5, and it just looks absurdly good. It is unbelievable looking, but it's like, the difference is they don't have the full world built out. There's
They're
a
just
reason
rendering that one area.
Right.
And there's nothing else in it. There's no mechanics in it. It's just this really tight, like, how good can we make it if our game was only a 5-minute trailer?
Yes. Yes. And to be fair, the answer is very good. But, like, it seems like they're already kind of doing a little backpedaling of, like, that's not technically Witcher 4 gameplay, even though it looks like Witcher 4 gameplay, and it seems like we're announcing things like the horse and all this stuff.
I feel like
Witcher
that
4
would be
gameplay.
scary to communicate.
I know.
Like, you'd
How do
think
you do
that
it?
you would know putting that out there that people were going to misunderstand it.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you have a big watermark on the screen. But then at the same time, like, they don't want to emphasize that too much because Epic is like, they're trying to sell the engine to people. So they want it in the showcase to look as good as possible. It's like, hey, you know what? If the community gets confused, not our problem.
Yeah.
We're selling the engine, right? Noodle says, as a relatively younger viewer, I feel like the term game journalist comes with a negative connotation in a lot of my social circles. It seems to me that this judgment comes from people jumping to conclusions off of video thumbnails, article headlines, review scores. People still meme on IGN's Too Much Water. Do you all think this negative attitude towards game journalists is something that can be targeted and addressed? Or maybe it's just a symptom of a greater societal issue?
When Haley talked about how there actually was too much water in that game, like you spend too much time going through water, that changed my whole world. It was like, I almost drank the Kool-Aid on that. It's very easy something to just live forever as, look how stupid this sounds.
Right. Did they have a point?
An interesting insight about how it carries a negative connotation.
I feel like that's very common. I
get
think
it.
Yeah.
the only way to, like, quote unquote fix it from this outsider perspective is to get somebody that, like, that generation already respects, like a content creator, and then have them pivot into calling themselves a game journalist and maybe starting to be a game journalist. That's the only way this could be ever, like, fixed.
Yeah, but then it's like you're taking a reputational hit if there's a negative connotation.
I don't know.
I
Can you
think the
imagine
negative
somebody-
stereotype is just so ingrained.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a while.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you can't. If a content creator, was like, I today am a gaming journalist. It's like, what does that mean? It's all such a weird shade of gray, even that, like, we just say, like, oh, we're content creators that are more professional. Even that's condescending to, like, so many great content creators that grew up on YouTube and stuff. So it's like, I don't even like calling us journalists. I don't know what that means. Don't put pressure on us. Whatever.
It basically just is a pejorative at this point.
Yeah,
Because
right.
there aren't any more journalists.
That's I mean, it's true.
Very
Yeah.
few, at least.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that get all the crap because they say things that rabid fan bases don't like.
Right.
And so
Right.
you're not going to PR that into something that people are like, oh, actually, I was immature and stupid, and actually journalism is a good thing now.
And it's like, you should be nicer to those 8 people, 5 people, 4 people. That guy's nice. Like, what are we doing here? You know? Sad but true.
Yeah.
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 We're in, like, a really weird state of content creation and media in general that it's going to be interesting to see where we go in, like, 20 years.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think we're definitely going towards the influencer content creator thing where it's like everybody just has that one person that they're like, oh, I watched, like, so-and-so's content, and when the game comes out, I'll watch them play it, and then I'll kind of decide for myself if that is something I want or not.
Yeah.
You know? And I might not
That's fine.
get exposure to a lot of games unless, like, insert content creator talks about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
What term like games journalist do you all use for yourselves if it comes up of having to define yourself with that general type of label?
Yeah. I don't know. Enthusiast press.
Enthusiast press? Can you unpack that?
It feels easier. That sounds a little bit too, like, rah. I'm here to, I don't know, like, champion welcome tour and say everyone should spend $10 on it, I guess.
It's their job. It's their duty.
I mean, Jeff, you're a writer. I don't know. Maybe it's just like on the video side, I have a tougher time with it, but, like, you know your journalism. Sarah, you know your journalism from schooling. Like,
Yeah, but I never went with the intent to be a journalist.
Oh, it was just for the perks?
I wanted the writing.
Yeah. But it's different from an English major?
I I wanted to be able to write and communicate clearly.
Yeah.
And I feel like English is not, it doesn't really cross over very well.
And that era's over now anyway.
Yeah.
No one.
Backstage Pass is right. The answer is games media.
I was going to say games media.
It's like, even like when we're talking about like, oh, for kind of, not slogans, but like things to hit for messaging MinnMax. Like, I support independent games media. It's like games journalism. I don't know if that really fits if people are just looking at New Show Plus and us like having a picnic, you know? So it's like, games media is just like a better. But I mean,
Yeah, but you do your interviews and you ask your hard-hitting questions.
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it's too much.
You don't like games media?
I like games media. I don't like games journalists.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
But like, Jeff, would you confidently say, for I am a journalist? When you're working at Game Informer?
anymore.
You know, but like at Game Informer, would you say that with kind of that like Dracula accent? And you
No, I used to call myself an editor because
it's cool.
that was closer to what we do. I mean, we wore so many hats there, and we do here that it's just like the journalism part is a very small part of what we do everywhere else. We balance microphones.
Seriously.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not a label that like I feel like I have to. I mean, like you said, it only carries negative connotations now anyway. So like, what are we trying to live up to? It's weird that we won't call ourselves that because we hold it in higher regard,
Right. That's interesting.
but everyone else it's in lower regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But the same time, I say like, if it feels like if you don't like, I don't want to call myself a journalist. I feel like that implies like you're on the take. Then that means like, you know, they're sending you money.
the journalists are on the take though, according to most people.
Okay,
So
That's yeah.
it's a mess. It's a mess. Whatever. We're gonna do what we're doing.
It's still we talked about it I think last time when Polygon got closed or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember looking through Reddit and there were people who were saying like, "Good, I'm glad they're gone. They were just middlemen. We should just get our information straight from the publishers."
Yes.
Because that's purer.
Yeah.
And we don't need other people manipulating what we think about it.
Yep.
And that's just like
It's horrifying.
Well, okay, journalism is dead at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So like
Yeah, I mean, Kit and Krista, great podcasts, are really at their peak right now. Only to climb higher, but no, with like the Switch 2 launch, I think they've been fantastic. And they were talking about like how scared they were about like, you know, we were on the PR team for Nintendo for years and years, and now it's like, oh, Nintendo, there's no reviews day of for the Switch 2. They're not giving out early systems to anybody. They're being so tight with messaging and all this stuff. And they're like, we're freaked out, and we were on the PR Nintendo team just seeing how much the community is like, good. I love that they're cutting journalists out of the system. And it's like, whoa, you guys, there's still
Don't damage my hype.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Like, it'd be nice to have some independent thoughts and voices in this thing. Okay. Hey, speaking of which, Chris Hanlon, friend of yours? He's, I don't know. They say, Ben, do you wish that Max Dude had used a screenshot of you with your eyes open in his recent video?
What a good question.
This is a Maximilian Dude. He posted on his YouTube channel a reaction to a rapid fire interview with Hideki Kamiya. Yeah, I look like an a-hole in the thumbnail that he used, but the good news is he only has 1.8 million subs! Yeah, no, honestly, he also has his eyes closed in that, so you know what? Whatever.
What was it?
Okay,
I want to know
maybe
what the
people.
inspiration behind the double eyes closed thing was.
Maybe we couldn't believe the Beautiful Joe headline that was happening there, so we went along with it.
And they love a funny face in a thumbnail like that, and maybe that's as funny as your face. God.
Thanks, man.
But you got the sunglasses and the bald cap, bro. That was funny
But
as
then
hell.
thell think it's like, why are there two Kamiyas in this? In this
Sure.
thing? Yeah,
Too
that's kind of
close.
confusing.
Lazy thumbnail. Use
Yeah.
twice.
No, so Maximilian Dude, I'm a huge fan of his Final Fantasy VII content in particular, and I genuinely was a real geek out meeting when at a preview event I got to actually meet him in person. It was a real thrill. But I like his YouTube channel, and so he did a Twitch reaction stream, I think the night of when our rapid fire interview went live, because he's a big, Capcom fan and Kamiya fan and stuff. And so, like, I watched that on Twitch because I think somebody pinged me in the Discord. They're like, there are 10,000 people watching your reaction streams or the rapid fire thing. I was like, oh my God, that's wild. And so I thought that was just going to be the end of it, but it was so fun to see his Twitch chat reacting. But then I feel like it was, I'm not angry at all. Like, he's siphoning our views. He's stealing our content on YouTube. Like, because he did it in a really classy way where like, he linked to us and it was posted on YouTube like a week after our rapid fire went live on YouTube. And our rapid fire was at 10,000 views, kind of flatlining there, where it's like, okay, little low for rapid fire, but I'm happy-ish with it. There we go. And then he posted that reaction video of that interview on his YouTube channel. His version now has 100,000 views. Because of him posting it there, like the second it was posted, somebody pinged me in the Discord again. So I went and left like a nice comment on that video. Like, oh, thanks so much for reacting to this. It was really fun to see. You know, subscribe to MinnMax's channel for more interviews like it. And we got 400 new subs.
Nice.
Just like a boost on our YouTube channel from that. And then also like the YouTube algorithm magic, like because he posted that, we got like an extra 4,000 views on the primary rapid fire. It's like unclear if people are clicking through or all that stuff. So it's like just win-win as far as I see. And like the goal of those interviews and those rapid fire interviews that we've talked about a lot is like it's our best bet to kind of get out of the orbit and see some new faces, meet some potential new MinnMax fans and stuff. And so I feel like, 100,000 views on a channel that's not ours, where people hopefully have the takeaway of like, oh, who's MinnMax? That was kind of fun, you know. And he was really complimentary and nice. So it's just like I loved it. It was really lovely to see.
That's great.
And it's nice to see so many comments too. Be like, now Max has to do some Final Fantasy VII content with you guys. I'm like, yeah, I agree. He legally has to.
He has to.
We'd love to.
Got him.
Blake Barber writes in and says, it's been a while since I've heard anything about y'all getting better. Yeah, we've been getting a lot worse, actually. I'm turning 40 this year and planning a reunion with some high school buddies. Reunion, speaking of Final Fantasy VII. Come on, let's get the show moving. I've been thinking about asking these guys what they would tell ourselves when we were 16. What would us 40-year-old guys tell ourselves when we were 16? Blake says, my personal answer would be to have kids earlier. Does anything stand out for y'all?
Have kids at 16. I've had many things occur to me over the years of that would be great to tell my younger self. A lot of epiphanies about whatever, the way I move through life. But the God's honest truth these days, Kanka.
Oh God, yeah, I would use that too.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
a
this?
mouth pain liquid. It's like an oral anesthetic. I get canker sores when I have like too much sugar. It happens like pretty often. They're pretty painful, and I keep like tonguing them, and it makes them not heal, you know. But you put the Kanka on, and then you can't feel them. You forget they're there.
Get your kank on.
Kanka, Kanka, mouth pain liquid. I didn't know a product existed for
literally
this
a
until a few months
miracle.
ago. Yeah, it's really
Wow.
great.
Wow.
So like when you were just like cromping on those Sour Patch watermelons today during the stream, it's like Kanka follow-up.
Well, you know, if a canker sore forms.
Oh,
get
you
it.
keep it on you. You stay
I knew this
strapped.
question was coming, so I put it in my pocket. but I do have it in my backpack for
Love it.
on the go.
No wisdom? No wisdom?
No wisdom teeth.
My answer
Yeah,
to my 16-year-old.
Here we go.
being invest in Amazon.
Oh,
Get
okay.
whatever
Yeah.
stock money.
Sure.
And defend Bezos at all costs.
Well, get out at
Yeah.
a reasonable time. Yeah.
Have you guys seen My Old Ass with
Yes.
Aubrey Plaza? That movie I watched on an airplane. I was like, I think it's a cute little concept of like, you know, yourself. It was like 37 or something, going back and talking to yourself from 20 years ago, right when you're kind of graduating college and going, or graduating high school and going off to college. I think is that time frame. But then like, God, by the end of that movie, it was just like haymakers to my gut. Like it really, like,
I love that movie.
okay, good. I'm glad you're with me because like bawling on an airplane. Like, all right, I didn't expect to just be openly weeping, but it really got me. But can I tell you this fun premise, right? So she's going out and like camping with friends, the younger version of her, right? And then she does a bunch of mushrooms, and just all of a sudden, like her older self comes in, sits down on the log next to her, and starts talking to her. And then they spend like the rest of the night just like talking. She's like, "Oh, I'm tripping. This is so crazy. Haha." There's a fun weird moment where she's like tries to have sex with herself, and her older self's like, "This is so weird. Do stop doing this." But then it's very fun because like she falls asleep, and the older version's like, I don't know, I guess. So she like put her number in her phone, in the younger version's phone, and then it's just this great thing. Like as she's sober the next day, then she just like calls the number, and then the older version's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that worked. Like we're actually talking now, and I'm back in the future, and we can actually communicate." And it's like, how tight. It resonated with you, Leah? It hit you?
Big time. Yeah. I without giving too much away, it's like a lot of wisdom from her older self and a lot
Yeah.
of wisdom from her younger self too. Like a lot of value that we don't necessarily give our foolish younger selves. A lot of value in the way they see the world too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I have this weird thing where I never wanted to like join anything, like any groups or sports or any activities. Nothing. I just always had this feeling my entire life of, look, I don't do that. Like I'm different. I don't do that. I don't join the crowd. I don't do that. It's just like contrarian to the core. And I look back and it's like, oh, I think like the most fun social things is like when you're working with a group towards a larger goal. That's as satisfying as things can be. And so I'd go back and just slap myself like, what are you doing? Don't just be like, I'm not the type of person that does that. I'm not the type of person that would ever be in a play in high school and anything like that. It's like, no, just join the group. That's where the satisfaction comes from, you idiot.
Totally.
Yucko. All right. Sarah, what do you like for question of the week?
Oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
It's okay. We're all patient people. We can wait for you. Let's see. I like the one about the negative attitude towards journalists.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good
solid.
one because it came from a younger person.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's nice to finally have that perspective
Yeah.
on things.
They taught us all something.
Yeah. Well,
That's right.
I think we all know how, like, you know, people who grew up with, like, you know, games journalism feels, and they're like,
Yeah.
I want it all to come back, and I want it to always be the same as it was. I want my magazine in the mail, and I want it to read like this. And it's like, I do think we need to change a little bit. I think everyone needs to evolve, and I don't think we should, you know, I think we should change a little bit. But I think people should be nicer to games journalists.
That's true. But we should change.
But I think we might need to change something because it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason it is moved
Yeah.
the way it has.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
think I see so little of this. But like the idea of like, I don't know, there's still kind of this feeling of like looking down, I think, on some content creators, and it's like they're out in the trenches. They rose through the ranks most likely for a reason. Like they're very talented.
Yeah.
Like there is this feeling of this kind of
there's
like
a disdain
a little bit.
for like, oh, popular content creator.
Right. And it's like, I think, Sarah, yes, you have that feeling, and I think it's shared by me and other folks as well. It's like, you know, just like this feeling of, I don't know, making sure people are earning it and appreciating how rare it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just the old boys club being handed stuff is frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of that
And
older era of game journalism was very much that. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
and we
speaking to three
exist.
people who are part of it.
We exist in this ecosystem together,
Yes.
whether we like it or not. We all exist in this ecosystem of content creation, personal branding, and video games and journalism, right? And we either adapt or we die.
Mm-hmm. They'll make us choose. There we go. Congratulations to Noodle. I may be shipping out that prize. And now it's time for something that, of course, we call Get a Load of This.
Where's your phone?
Just imagine we're hearing the music right now, you guys.
I know, that's why I'm talking right now.
I know, but I didn't have the music loaded in OBS, Leo. It's
Oh.
not playing. It's not playing.
Oh no!
That's right, Leo. Take it away.
Well, I just got my phone. I'm not my get a load of this.
Hey, get a load of this, Jeff. Did you know that the English alphabet used to have something after the letter Z?
Now you're just making shit up.
I am not making this up. After the letter Z used to say the word and. And used to be at the end of the alphabet.
Well, how'd that work with the song, Hanson?
You can make it work. So kids...
N, Z, and?
Here's the thing. Here is the thing. In the 1800s, apparently, when kids would recite it, you'd say X, Y, Z, and per se and.
For ampersand?
Oh,
They would say and per se and, yes, which was like and in and of itself and, not saying like and implying there's something after that, right? And that was the thing. Over time, and per se and evolved into ampersand.
well,
Isn't that
kinda
funky?
cool.
Isn't that cool? And then the actual icon itself like evolved from Latin and stuff, if you're interested in all that stuff. But it's cool. Ampersand, everybody. Fun
Wow.
origins.
Check it out.
Thank you.
Mine's
I yield my time.
okay. Mine's like super low hanging fruit because I just saw it this morning in the news. But apparently, did you see that GameStop that was stapling receipts to Nintendo Switches?
No.
And the staple went through the box.
Because the
and
Switch is right at the surface.
because they put the screen at the
screen.
very top of the box, and it went through the box, through the protective plastic, and onto the screen, and like
Whoa.
damaged it.
I love it. I love it.
So
I
anyone
hate
who
it.
got their Switch from this one very specific GameStop, and they stapled the receipt to it, now are having a lot of issues.
Should that person be fired? Sarah,
mean-
innocent mistake.
It's a common sense thing. I fear
Yeah.
this one may be a common sense thing,
Okay.
and if that wasn't the initial reaction, wasn't maybe we shouldn't staple directly onto this box with this $500 console in it,
Right,
maybe
right.
not the line of work you want to be in.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Well,
fair.
GameStop's always putting those stickers on the boxes that are impossible to get off. They got no reverence for these items.
That's true.
That is true.
Zero reference.
Get a load of this.
God, this is so
Vanquish-
much easier. Shut up, Lee. This is so much easier to do in person for who's going next with Get a Load of This than doing it
Looking
remotely.
at each other.
Yeah.
Get a load of this. Remember Vanquish?
Yeah.
Remember?
Forgotten franchises. Yeah.
Sure. Forgotten franchise. A 6-hour game,
Right.
15 hours for a completionist playthrough.
Sure.
I was holding the official guide, not a Prima guide, a Future Press guide it was called, at
Yeah.
a retro game store. 320 pages. This thing was gigantic.
That's games journalism.
Yes, that's what we need.
That's what we're missing.
Good games gournalism is a list of all the stats I've ever gotten. and a really, I was looking like, why is it this long? Really long, detailed walkthroughs of walk through the first hallway and take cover and throw a cigarette for cover and distract somebody and then dash to the right. Like move by move how to get through this whole game.
Do you also have a sick part of your soul that's like kind of fun just to like read this on a Sunday? Just like,
A game guide?
yeah.
I fear, honestly, guides might be making a comeback, like physical guides, because I'm
Yeah.
so tired of looking for something and then having to scroll like a recipe through like 20 ads.
Yeah. Oh,
And I'm
the
like,
worst.
Refreshes
where is
while
it?
you're
Where is it? Yeah,
Mark it
and you're
down,
like,
yeah.
where is it? I literally need just one clue,
Yep.
one hint,
Yep.
and
Yep.
why is it so hard to find?
Get a load of this. It's a new video from the movie Rabbit Hole. It's part 5 of No CG is really just invisible CGI.
Perfect.
And then, like, the first 4-part series that he put out was really good and went into the entire controversy of how, like, movie companies. The talking point now is how they do everything practically and how those stupid movie journalists, don't get me started on them, they just go and regurgitate that without actually looking at it.
Yeah.
But then you have examples of like Barbie where they like green screened out all of the green screen in the behind the scenes parts of
Yeah.
it, like
Yeah.
they made it look like it was all sites. And so he did a great job of going through all of that. He is a visual effects artist and he went through all of that, and then like months later now he has put out a 5th episode where he talks about Wicked, because that was another big one where everyone was like, oh, it's all practical, and as he's talking about it, it's just like 20 minutes of all of the different CG and green screen and
She
everything
wasn't
into
even
it.
green,
But then
yeah.
he also does the entire Mission Impossible
Oh, it's a good one for
series.
that. Yeah. Because it is like
And talks about how in some cases, like, it's an interesting take that he takes in this one where he talks about like some of it, like they just shouldn't have done practically to begin with. Like they did the high altitude drop for that one, whichever
Fallout
that
6.
was 6, and that's the Halo jump. Respect it.
yes
Into Paris.
but it's like when you see it, it's just him coming out of a plane and it's
Right.
filmed from underneath, so you can't even tell how high he is.
It's exactly the problem. And the part that drives me nuts about that too, and I love Mission Impossible, but also it's like, oh, we did this all real. It's great. It's great. And then he's like jumping into like a thunderstorm
CG
with lightning.
firestorm,
It's like,
yes.
yeah, what? Don't have the You're not. That's not adding anything. In fact, that's just like lessening the impact of like, is this real? Because suddenly he's
Yes.
jumping into
Yes.
Pixar's thundercloud.
Yes.
I
What
was
is
just
this?
noticing this in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1,
Yeah.
where he's driving off that big ramp and
Yes.
they CG over the ramp with the,
The
mountain,
entire-
so it
Yes.
looks like a
he
covered
talks
CG
all
crap.
about that one as well.
And then it's just like a mountain.
like-
It's just a perfect ramp. It's so dopey.
and it's just like
And in Final Reckoning, which I just saw last night, like it does the same thing where it's like, oh, this amazing underwater subsequence, but he's still like swimming around to get into the sub, and it's just like a giant CG sub everywhere. And it's like, I get you're not gonna have them swim next to a real sub, but like it's just to have that right next to each other still feels jarring, even if the stunts in that movie are like 10 out of 10s. You know?
Tom Cruise is just addicted to doing stunts.
Yeah.
And they build it all around those, and it doesn't really even matter for the movie, but he likes doing it, and it's really good PR for the movies, because he goes out and says, well, we did it all practically, and then Screen Rant writes that and says not a speck of CGI was used
Right.
in this, and he really tears them a new one. So
Did you see
good
that
video.
Tom Cruise is really making the rounds? I've really been absorbing a lot of Tom Cruise. He did like an hour-long interview and all this stuff. But do you see that clip where somebody asked him what his ideal Father's Day is?
No.
No.
Somebody's like, hey, Tom Cruise, like the worst person to
Yeah.
like, hey, Tom Cruise, what's your ideal Father's Day? And he's just like short circuits, and he says, no, look, Leo. He says, all right, what would an ideal Father's Day look like for you? And of course he says, quote, oh, you know, just having fun, man. Making movies, big adventures, having a great time.
Are we sure this man is real?
Where's your kid while you're doing it?
Your Father's Day, just making movies, having fun. Movies, baby.
Maybe he means like TikTok dances.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Hey, from the Get Out of This Discord, Mighty Ethan shared this post from Toby Fox, where with the launch of Deltarune, he just tweeted, "Is that good?" And it was the stat of percentage increase for players playing Deltarune, and it was player count increase with the new chapters of Deltarune dropping of 3,350% increase in Deltarune. Unbelievable spike. Sarah, are you gonna play the next Deltarune chapters? Do you think you're
I
waiting?
haven't played the first Deltarune
haven't
chapters.
either.
I feel like I'm kind of missing out.
Yeah. I feel like I want to wait, but it's like, if that many people are jumping in right now, maybe it is the time to kind of go through those 4. But all right, that is it for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, listening, sharing, leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, and including your Discord handle, Instagram handle, Twitter handle, Blue Sky handle, hell, your Mastodon handle, maybe. I can figure it out. And leave that review, include that handle in the review, and you have a chance of winning a Switch 2 thanks to us. We'll ship it on out to you. Other stuff happening here at MinnMax. New episode of Bonus Pod in that bonus podcast feed. You unlock at the $5 tier. Haley hosts it every single week. She does a great job, except for this week. She blew it. Yeah, because she let these jackals in the doghouse. Arf! Arf! Arf!
It's been a very long day.
And so we were on Bonus Pod this week with Jacob Geller and Dan Reichert talking about Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal Season 2. It's basically a max spoilers about The Rehearsal Season 2. Truly one of the wildest seasons of television I've ever seen in my life.
Phenomenal.
So
glad we put that together and went for it.
Yep.
Great chat.
Yep, absolutely. Super fun chat. So thanks for unlocking that at the $5 tier. Again, if you unlock that $5 podcast feed tier before this coming Monday, the 9th, we'll DM you on Steam with that Steam code, or DM you on Patreon, sorry, with the Steam code for Star of Providence from Donkey in Big Mode. It's a fantastic twin stick roguelike. Very cool. If you're a Binding of Isaac fan in particular, I think you'll love it. Otherwise, for New Show Plus this week, Leo, what happened?
We did the 10 twos debate. Move over 2 10s. We did the top 10 games that have a 2 in the title.
Perfect. It was a good pitch.
Charles Hart idea.
Details were fuzzy, and then right before it, I feel like okay, what if it's debating the games with 2s in the titles? Like, that is the perfect idea. Nailed it. Loved it.
Right before you recorded it.
I mean,
we came up
when was
with
it? It was like
what
the
it was gonna
morning.
be.
It was the night before.
Okay, that Charles had that good.
But
Eureka
definitely
moment.
well after we put it on the poll, yeah.
Worked out great. Again, you can tune in on MinnMax's YouTube channel for reaction stream for Summer Game Fest happening Friday. Then Women-Led Games Showcase on Saturday.
Yes.
And Wholesome Games Direct on Saturday. Then Xbox on Sunday. And then we'll wait for Nintendo. Maybe they'll get into this June season. There's probably going to be something. And hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Otherwise, Sarah, Pew Pew Bang coming up Monday.
Yeah.
You can subscribe in the standalone feed for Pew Pew Bang. What's this episode all about?
Smart people games.
Ooh.
Oh, good topic.
Yeah.
Nice. And this is the 9th episode of 10.
Of our 10 first season.
Yeah. And then short break after first season. But if you haven't jumped into Pew Pew Bang, please do it now. Leave a review. Help spread the word. It's truly fantastic.
Constant comments of this is the new best episode. This is the best show that MinnMax does.
I like that. Yeah, Haley took over Bonus Pod, and everyone's always like, Bonus Pod, that's the primary show. MinnMax Show, this is the backup show. And now Pew Pew Bang's like, okay, this is the primary show, and then Bonus Pod is the backup show, and then MinnMax Show proper, that's the third show, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I love it. No, it's true. It's so fun. I love listening to Pew Pew Bang. And then, yes, SGF Travelogue should be coming up soon from those folks out there in LA, so look forward to our YouTube channel to relive that whole adventure. And this time, their entire SGF trip is sponsored by Lost and Cult, who are launching editions. Cool physical games are getting out there. Stuff like Immortality or Thank Goodness You're Here. There'll be links in the description for all that stuff. But they look fantastic. And they're also publishing Jacob's book. And so like they they know quality. It's truly an artistic eye for that stuff. But that is it, truly, for this episode of the MinnMax Show. Thank you so much for everybody being here. We enjoy it. And hey, Leah, what's important is that we enjoy it.
And we'll be back here tomorrow to
Hell
enjoy
yeah.
it even some more.
Summer Game
All
Fest.
right.
This is the time, baby. E3 vibes. Thanks so much, everybody. Until next time, be good, have fun. Let's go.